Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Eddie Garcia podcast. Here today, we have number one, a veteran of the United States Air Forces. He got into business credit about 2.5 years ago. He's actually one of my previous students. I taught him how to acquire business credit. And then within a week or two, he was already helping out multiple e-commerce brands get business credits. The major highlight that he told me after a few months was that he was able to get $760,000 in 3 days for a client. Besides being a successful business funding career, he is also a gym rat. So credit maestro, military vet, and fitness enthusiast, Justice Padilla. Man, super nice to have you on the podcast, bro. It's been a minute.
It's been a long minute, but I'm grateful and humbled to be on this podcast.
Yeah, dude. And I'm super glad to catch up to you and hear that you've been growing and expanding and you've been developing your skills further than what I taught you. And now that's the beautiful thing. I think a lot of people are very scared to give their knowledge away, when in reality, when you do that, your own students come back and we can partner up. We can learn from each other now. We can develop our own skills further. And dude, I'm super excited to keep talking to you and actually get on a further meeting after this, right? To talk all about that. But I already told you how the podcast is going to go. We're going to talk about business questions and personal development questions, because I firmly believe that business development is personal development, especially as an entrepreneur in a small business. So right off the bat, can you give me a quick background of who you are and what services do you offer currently?
All right, so my name is Justice Padilla. It's a couple of services that I offer is one, business credit and personal credit funding, where I give my clients $50,000 to $300,000 at 0% interest for 12 to 18 months. I also do a funding process to where if my client makes over $250,000 in gross annual income, then we can fund them $2 million to $5 million. This doesn't come from angel investors or venture capitalists. This actually comes from investors who want to invest into your business to see exactly how you can use that $2 million and be able to transform your business and grow it and scale it within that first year. I do a lot of stuff. I do Amazon automation as well in the e-commerce industry, where it's a digital passive asset, as well as Walmart automation. I rent out exotic cars, yachts, mansions, and private jet charters down in Miami and LA. And I also run a credit repair service. A little background about me is just where I came from Texas. I didn't come from the best part of Texas. I was raised at the end of the day, don't know how I would actually phrase that, but I was raised in not the best of area. So, where I'm at now was a dream to me. It didn't seem like this would ever be possible, especially for where my family comes from. It kind of seems like I'm that person who broke the curse, like
Right.
made it out, became the golden child type of vibe that my family tells me.
Padilla, what ethnicity are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I am Puerto Rican, Black, and Italian.
That's a wild mix, man. That's sick. Yeah, because especially as I ask, because I'm Mexican American, and it is definitely that pressure to do good. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure your entire life, it's like your parents told you, I sacrificed a lot to get you here. You better go to school. You better get good grades. You better be a doctor. You better do X, Y, and Z. And then we were the black sheep for a few years. And then now, oh, we're the kids that are working hard, and we are proud of enjoying now. Right now that we're successful, that's quite funny. But when growing up, did you ever feel like, man, I let them down because I didn't go to school? Man, I let them down because X, Y, and Z.
I just feel like that at first, especially with not getting a college degree. So I don't have a college degree at all. I do have an associate's that I transferred over from my military credits. It's a criminal justice, but at the end of the day, the school just wasn't something for me. I got out of high school, immediately went probably one semester to CTC, Central Texas College. And as soon as that was over, man, I joined the military. I had a federal government teacher in my 12th grade year at Killeen High School. And his name was Travis Waltz. I still talk to him to this day. He told me either go to college and get out of the state or, join the military. Because if you stay here, you're not going to be able to grow. It's a military town, so it's mainly for military people. End of the day, I kind of did feel like I let my grandparents down, because my grandparents raised me. I didn't have my father or my mother in my life, really. I had my grandma, my grandpa who raised me. And their biggest thing was, go to school, get a bachelor's degree. But my gramps, he was actually United States Army, E7, and he was a drill sergeant. So going to the military, I feel like that kind of made up for it a little bit. But still, in the time in the military, it kind of felt like, every single thing I was doing was to make him proud.
Right. So you were what, 18, 19 years old when you joined?
Yeah, 18 years old.
Wow. Quite young, man. That scares me as a father. I'm thinking about if I had an 18-year-old son, I don't know if that person is there to understand, like, you're putting your life on the line for your country, which, by the way, again, apologize for not saying this earlier. Dude, thanks for your service, bro, because you are a better man than I would ever be, just by the simple fact you did that already. Because I think I would never, ever, ever do that, especially for my country, because especially as a father, I mean, I already have a father that I want want to protect. And I don't see me going into the military being constructive to protecting my daughter. Hats off to you, bro. I appreciate that. Let's hit the business questions first, and then we're going to go to the personal stuff second. So how did you get into entrepreneurship? What led to the inevitable, like, don't want to get a job, don't want to go back to school after getting out of the military? And I want to, and what was the first thing you decided to do?
So actually, I was the IT director. So I got to the top of the field in IT. As soon as I got out the military, I went and got certificates such as like Certified Ethical Hacking Security Plus, Network Plus. I used my VA Disability Act to be able to get into those certificates, so the VA paid for it. But the certificates was something that Tech Sergeant Muhammad, when I was in the military, she told me, she had a master's degree in computer science. And she told me, don't go get a degree, go get certificates. They weigh more. I got up all the way to an IT director, and that's the top of the top 8 locations under my control at Adventus Health here in Orlando. And I realized that even getting paid 6 figures, it wasn't something that was actually good, because the more you got paid, the more time it took away. And then the less you got paid, the more time you had, but you barely had any money to actually enjoy life. And I was always told in the military my whole entire life that I had a certain charisma and a leadership type of role to not like really follow orders, which is kind of bad when you're in the military, but that kind of pushed me to step outside the norm. And Will Smith said it best, the greatest things in life are on the opposite side of fear. I believe like there's never going to be a perfect time to do an entrepreneurship. There's never going to be a perfect time to go start your business. But at the end of the day, it's your dream. It's the skills that you were given. And if you don't activate those skills and you don't activate your dream, then at the end of the day, when you're in that coffin and you're looking up from your grave, you're going to see those skills and your dream looking down at you, and they're going to tell you like, only you have the power to give us life, and you chose not to. So that's what I really felt that pushed me to get into the entrepreneurship. Basically, it came from Amazon. It came from the e-commerce world, starting off in that type of like field, understanding it, and then being like, well, if I'm already having this business and I'm making this type of money, why am I working for somebody 40, 80 hours plus a week, barely able to see my family? And this guy got a Lamborghini. Well, he actually had a Bentley. His name was Oliver Dowd. Had a Bentley outside. The guy was only 23 years old. His dad owned the hospital basically and gave him the ownership of it. But pretty much, it's like that one quote that goes, at the end of the day, you actually bought, oh man, that's a nice Lamborghini. And he goes and tells you, well, if you work really, really hard and you put all your time and your effort into it, I could get a brand new one next year.
Right. I love it, man. So, because I do remember when I first met you and I started teaching you about business credit, you just had gotten out of IT, or you were like in the process of leaving?
So when we went through the course, I actually quit. So I quit my job probably like 2 weeks beforehand and just went full faith into it.
Nice. Okay. So, and you said something very vital that I've been telling a lot of people. I strongly believe that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It is extremely risky. It's hard. It takes a monster to make it successful. This is why I'm doing the podcast, because I'm trying to understand what are the human characteristics it takes in order for someone to be a successful entrepreneur. And obviously, the second thing, if everybody was an entrepreneur, we wouldn't have workers. And as much as people want to shit on the 9 to 5, hey, we need them. We need the lawyers, we need the doctors, we need specialists, we need IT professionals. We need people, right? And I'm super glad that you brought this up, because a lot of people think they still have the mentality, I got to go to college, I got to go get a degree. When in reality, some of the best paying jobs and fulfilling jobs, all you need is some sort of certification, which will be a lot less expensive, a lot less time, and you're going to be able to make a lot more money right away. And IC is one of them. Dude, do you mind disclosing? Because I remember how much you were telling me that you were getting paid when I first met you over 2 years ago. Would you mind disclosing that as an IT professional? Because maybe somebody listening to this, they'll be like, oh shit, I could go get a job first, start making a shit ton of money for the next 2.5 years, and then start a side hustle on the side, but still have a great W-2 income.
Yeah. So when I got my CCNA, it's network engineering, while I was traveling, I was with 3D Technology. I was traveling around the United States and going to different hospitals, switching out the network switches and programming, the switches on how to actually go to certain ports and how to make the network faster. That started me off at 118,000. Usually when you get Security Plus certificate, that lets you work on government computers and get a government contract with like Hayes IT. They're like recruiting company for government contracts. That could start you off at 56,000. The CCNA could start you off at 86,000. Cybersecurity analyst, that's about 80,000 to 90,000. So just getting those certificates alone starts you off, regardless of having experience or not, at a high paying job. It's because at the end of the day, degree shows that you have knowledge of it. A certificate shows you have knowledge and you're put into simulations to where they'll say, hey, China's hacking the computer, find out. With CompTIA, that's usually where you get your certifications from for like Security Plus, Network Plus, CCNA, cybersecurity analyst, certified ethical hackers by EC Council though. But pretty much at the end of the day, it shows more. It shows not just, oh, I know how to take tests. It shows I know how to do the tests. I know the knowledge of it, but I've also been put into simulations to where I can figure out the root of the problem without being told anything.
Perfect. And so how long did that take you?
Each certificate took me at least 1 month, except for certified ethical hacking and CYSA. That took me about like 1 to 2 weeks because I wanted to learn how to hack. And cybersecurity analyst is defending from hackers. So I got to use like Kali Linux and so forth. It was pretty awesome.
Wow, 1 month, dude. So you're telling me you 18-year-old kid can go for in 1 month, they can go from making $0 in income all the way to, let's say, the $56,000 in 1 month.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, all it is just like a business. When you become an entrepreneur, you decide how much you're going to make. You decide how hard you're going to push. You decide how many clients you're going to be able to get that month. So it's the same concept of when you're studying for these certificates. If you really, really want it, then at the end of the day, there's no reason that you can't get it. I know people that would take the course for the 7 days that it was allowed at New Horizons Technology down here in Orlando, and they would take the test after the class was over and pass the damn test. And, I thought it was pretty crazy, but it's just how bad do you want it? Like how bad do you want it? Anything is possible in this world. You just have to choose to do it.
It sounds like that hustle mentality is like you're willing to do whatever it takes in order to be successful, as long as it's legal.
We don't want no problems with Uncle Sam, but
Yeah.
it's like what I tell, and I like how you said that because it's like what I tell my homeboys back at home, and what I tell people now, it's the game's going to change, but the hustle always remains the same.
Would you still recommend someone listening to like, hey, I don't know if entrepreneurship is all for me, sounds crazy, or people believe like, oh, I'm going to be on my own business, I'm going to have more time, when reality it's like, dude, you're not going to have any time, right? Entrepreneurship is like a 24/7 thing. So for someone who is 18, 19 years old, don't have any technical skills, would you still recommend, hey, go IT, go do that for a year or two, go make money? Is that something that you still recommend now?
So what I recommend to people is doing what you want to do. I loved IT. IT was something I loved when I was back a kid. They used to call me JPIT. That's what my grandmas would call me because I was always fixing the computers and doing OSRIs, operating system reimaging for like Windows 10 and doing bootleg Windows images. But pretty much what I tell people is, do exactly what you want to do. No matter if you don't think it makes money, no matter if someone tells you it doesn't. Because back in the day, people would say, oh, playing video games, that's not going to get you anywhere. Now look at these people who stream and they're making millions. It's about what your passion, what your goal is, and what your dream is. Because if you follow that, you're going to be happy at like no matter what. And that's something my grandpa told. It's about not how much money you can make, but doing what you love every day. If you do what you love every day, you'll be happier. But if you go and chase the money, then you're going to wake up on that Monday morning and be like, damn, I got to go to this job. All right, damn, this business ain't going where it's going. And, most people, they don't realize when you go into this entrepreneurship, friends, family, and loved ones are going to be the first people to doubt you. And it's okay if they doubt you. It's okay if they tell you you ain't going to make it, because at the end of the day, God didn't give them that vision. He gave it to you, and only you have that sight for it. So just do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell someone to go to IT because it makes the most money. I'm going to ask them, hey, what do you really love to do? You like doing hair? All right. So let's go see what you can do. Let's see if you can go to a salon, get some internships at. Like, do what you would love to do, and you'll make the most money out of what you love to do.
Nice. I totally agree with that to a certain extent. I believe that if you are 18 years old, 19 years old, 16 years old, whatever it may be, and obviously in some states you can work earlier and with parental consent. If you decide not to go to college, but you're still living in your parents' house, you don't have any responsibilities, then go ahead and do that. But what about, hey, I'm 21, I have a kid, I'm by myself, I cannot just drop working at McDonald's to go ahead and follow my dream of making YouTube videos. At that point, it's like, all right, hey, you might have to do something you don't necessarily like. For example, I tell people I love credit. I love and enjoy helping people with credit. It makes me super fulfilled. I genuinely enjoy looking at the credit reports, explaining it to people how credit works, and then that phase of realization, like, oh shit, I didn't know that, right? That feels great. But do I want to look at credit reports all day long for the rest of my life? No, I really don't, right? So to a certain extent, it's like, because that hustle culture, dude, a lot of people, there's people people that have a multi-million dollar construction business. They're not doing it like, oh man, I'm a redneck and I love being in the sun for the next 16 hours every single day. Right. So to a certain extent, I feel like it depends on the person's situation. But what do you think? Is that applicable for everybody? Or to what point, like, hey, bro, you just gotta have to suck it up and do what you gotta do?
Well, I guess applicable to anybody, man, because at the end of the day, you create your own life and you're the determining factor on how good you've been, how good you're doing, and how well you'll do. Odds are all stacked against you, and then you got to be smart about it because, like you said, the hustle. It's the hustle. So if you're working at the McDonald's job and you want to change your life and you can't go do the business that you want to do because it's your dream, then you find another way to make some extra income on the side in order to be able to do your dream once like you have everything set and you're on your standing and you're, back on your feet. But it's possible for every single person out here. It's just about your mindset. What are you going to do about it? But it's definitely possible for everyone. It's not something that, I can only work at McDonald's right now and I can't really chase my dream. Yes, you can. You can find the time into it. Just like when you go into the gym, there's so many hours in the day. You can find the time to do it. It's about what are you going to do about it?
I noticed that a lot of people procrastinate between changing tasks. It's like your brain needs that hit of dopamine to reward yourself for everything you do. So for example, you go to work, oh, gotta go home, I gotta eat, I gotta rest, I gotta watch a few episodes of blah, 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 and then I'll go to the gym. A lot of people don't just shorten that to like work, I'm gonna go straight to the gym before I go home, right? Because even sometimes I catch myself doing it. It's like, this is why for my lifestyle meetings, I don't give myself a 5 minute break because sometimes I feel like if I were to give myself a 5 minute break, then I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to scroll on Instagram, see what's up for 5 minutes. When in reality, it's like, no, if you start accumulating that throughout the entire day, you're going to see that you're just wasting a lot amount of time. But going back to the whole W-2, do you recommend people to getting a solid W-2 if they can? Like, for example, like let's say you get someone who's interested in entrepreneurship or they're kind of lost, but they're like, hey, I am also really good at computers. Like I always like computers. I've always fixed and built computers my entire life. I was also thinking about being an IT professional. Since we know how to make way more money than an IT professional, we might sometimes be like, no, let's get your business credit. Let's go do Amazon real quick and blah, 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 right? But I noticed, like, obviously as a business credit specialist, and I think you mentioned it, people who are making really solid money on a W-2, they get more business credit than anything, right? I want to talk to you later about this. It's SBA loans, lines of credit. You can use their income as the underwriting process to show like, hey, worst case scenario, if this person business doesn't do well, he can always go back to his W-2, or he's not going to quit his W-2 job and he's still going to have this weekly income coming into his household. So would you recommend like, hey, go get a W-2 job while you're starting your business, while you're starting a side hustle? And especially if it's going to be a high paying W-2 job, like $100,000 a year, or if somebody with 2 years of IT being an IT professional comes in making $150,000 a year, you recommend that like, hey, quit your job right now and then start a business? Or like, no, so let's start the business, get a bunch of business capital, use the income, and then once this business is up and running, then you can start thinking about quitting your job. What do you think?
So the W-2 aspect of doing the underwriting process is a great thing to have because it actually shows fundamental of a strength. Because at the end of the day, if you do self-employment, then you know exactly what the bank's going to see. It's a high risk classification for them to be actually able to lend you money because there's no real fundamental like, hey, you're getting paid this much. And then at the same time, for clients that come into Amazon automation, Walmart automation for those passive digital assets, they're saying that, oh, once I get to 3,000, 4,000, I'm going to quit my job. And I tell them straight up, I'm like, hey, no, because at the end of the day, what you want to do is use that income, put it to the side and be able to take that and invest it into marketing, be able to take it and invest it into your websites, BAs, assistants, and so forth. Have that fundamental strength that you already have from W-2, getting paid $100,000 a year and use that to your advantage. Have that extra capital and that extra cash flow to be able to put it into your bank account. So that way, at the end of the day, when you want to pull out more money, the banks see that.
All right. So if somebody were to have a W-2 job or want to be an entrepreneur, you recommend them quitting their W-2 job first and then getting into entrepreneurship, or maintaining that and getting into entrepreneurship at the same time?
So what I recommend at the end of the day is what I do for my clients that do Amazon or Walmart, and also what you said earlier as well with the W-2 and the underwriting process, having that W-2 on there shows that you have a certain amount of income coming in every single month. When you put self-employed, that's where the bank see it as a high risk because at the end of the day, that money coming in is not guaranteed. So I tell my clients all the time, hey, just because you're making $3,000, $100,000 that month in passive income, then you say you want to quit your job, it doesn't make sense. If you're making $5,000 a month, then you're getting paid, obviously the math's going to be off. But if you're getting paid around, $100,000 a year, making 5,000, 6,000 a month, use that 5, 6,000 plus the 4,000. Now you got 9,000 to $10,000 a month coming in, and use that to be able to put that inside your bank account or a savings account to where you can get more when it comes to credit, more when it comes to these loans, or when you're getting a house, they first check your bank account. And at the same side, that extra income you're getting from your job, hey, hello, let's use that for marketing. And let's use that for advertisements, for VAs, for employees, anything that you're going to need as an extra expense. That's what that job's taking care of until you feel like you have a fundamental to where you have probably 3 passive assets or 3 pillars of income coming in toward, and then sure, quit the job. But if it's extra money and it doesn't bother you because you've been doing it for the last couple of years, then why quit it?
Right. So this actually leads me to a few things. First is starting a new business or buying one. And then the other one is, have you ever, let me ask you this, have you ever actually used the W-2s, like the person's personal tax returns, or to underwrite them some? Never had to? Because here's the thing.
I've never had to. I mean, let's ask relationship managers.
Right. So what we've been able to do now is use the person's personal tax returns to show income for on the personal side to underwrite lines of credit and SBA loans and stuff like that. Because SBA loans, they actually require 3 years of personal tax returns because of that same thing. And they want to make sure, like, hey, if you're going to be buying a new business or starting a new business or get working capital for your business, I want to know, like, if this company just goes to the shit, like hits the fan, how are we going to recuperate our money? Oh, you're an IT professional that makes $120,000 a year already? Fucking fantastic. I've even seen it where they want to see the wives. They can even use the wife's income to personal guarantee the line of credit or the SBA loan or stuff like that. I've seen it where, again, so in business or in business credits, there's the 5 C's in credits. And one of them is collateral, right? They want to see what type of collateral you have. And collateral can be like, okay, it's basically is what can we do if this shit doesn't go well. So for e-commerce brands, it is inventory. If you have $500,000 worth of inventory or something, it depends on what it is too. If it's $100,000 of fluffy bunnies, the bank is not really going to know how to sell that quickly to recover the money. But if it's $100,000 worth of inventory for computers, man, they can just contact Apple, all these companies and be like, okay, hey, can we liquidate this? How much would you give us for this inventory? Right. So they're going to be able to recuperate. The other one, like I said, is W-2 income. And this is also why on certain credit applications on the computer, they say, hey, household income instead for your general income, because then the banks can see, okay, hey, if Justice Padilla can't pay us back, what about his wife? What about his other extended family members that live under the same household? That's why I was bringing it up, the whole W-2, because that's what we've been using as well recently for people who are like, hey, I make $300,000 a year. Okay, perfect. And then the second thing, would you recommend someone starting a bit? So if they're getting into entrepreneurship and they got their IT professionals, they make $150,000 a year, they make good money. Would you recommend them starting a new business or buying an existing business?
Well, it just depends on what they're trying to do. At the end of the day, you can buy an existing business and just take over, or you can buy an existing business and be able to use it. Like, for example, Walmart automation requires you Walmart Seller Central requires you to at least have 2 years in an e-commerce history. That's when it comes into buying an H corporation to where you can actually be able to get approved for that. But at the same side, it just depends on exactly what that person wants to do. You can start a new business and be able to build it and scale it. I've been able to acquire clients, a Wyoming Anonymous LLC or a regular LLC through FloridaSunbiz.org. It's been open for 1 to 2 months and acquire them about 33,000 Chase Income Limited plus a $50,000 Chase in cash. So at the end of the day, it just really depends on what's that client using that company or that H corporation for, or what's he trying to do with it. Because the H corporation at the end of the day is going to have more trustworthiness because it's age, and then it probably already has a business credit score on its own. But at the same side, you can still start a brand new business and then be able to use that business as capital for that H corporation or vice versa.
So when you talk about H corporations, you're talking about a company that's just been sitting down there and hasn't done any financial transaction, hasn't filed tax returns. What I'm talking about is like, would you recommend them buying a company?
Okay, you're saying buy a company that's moving and going.
Right, because here's where I come from. I've been thinking about this and I've been doing Sky Credit Enterprise since I got into credit back in 2019, but my official, when I set up the LLC and did all the fancy stuff was back in 2021. And going from where I started to where I'm now, I'm not gonna lie, I can see how a lot of people will say, fuck this. This is not for me. I love this. I love what I'm doing, but I do understand that it takes a monster, you and me, to be able to get to the point where we're at and where we want to go. I totally understand that. So I have no like, hey, shit, if this is not for you, totally get it. Don't disrespect you. No, right. So if I were to start from day one all over again, I was 18 years old. Let's say I'm not a father. Either I can go to university or I can do something else. What I would do now is just get my personal credit on point, get a certification to go make a buttload of money, do that for 2 years, save as much money as possible, start learning, acquiring other skills, marketing, sales, like learning all this other stuff, put a master game plan, and then go buy existing businesses. Because here's the thing, like, why would I go and start a new business I can fucking sell in the next 1 or 2 years or 5 years, where I can already I can go use an SBA loan that will cover 90% of the purchase price of the business. I only have to come up with 10, and then I can go do business credit. I can go capital, like raise money from other people. Like you said, I can go ahead and just use my own money that I saved up to buy, let's say, the laundromats down the road that's been on operations for the last 15 years and is cash flowing $30,000 a month every single month, right? At that point, if I buy that business, it's already cash flowing $30,000 a month every single month. Boom, that's money back in my pocket right away. Instead of me starting a new business and spending a lot of money and then putting a bunch of like, what ifs this doesn't happen? Shit, I would rather buy existing money, whether that is an e-commerce brand, whether that is a laundromat down the road, whether that is something else. Dude, I think that is the way to go. Again, if you have a good credit score, you have a great W-2 income for the last 2 to 3 years that you can use as proof, like to the SBA, to the banks, like, I'm not an idiot. I make money and I know how to manage my finances, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a smart thing, especially if you do due diligence about the company that you're buying, because sometimes when you're buying a company, you also have to
Right. A lot of risk too. Yeah. Yeah.
well,
Everything is risky. Everything in business is risky.
has its own perception as well too. So, but at the end of the day, I think it's a great thing to do if you have you do your due diligence and hey, yeah, I'm just gonna get this company. I don't have to worry about starting from the ground up. And if you want to start from the ground up, then you can do it.
Exactly. Exactly. Beautiful. So when you started getting to IT and you quit your job and then you became a student, why did you choose business credit? Why that industry?
I mean, I thought about it from the book I read, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And, he talked about OPM, using other people's money. And then I thought about the benefits of credit. What's the difference? I was trying to go into stocks when I was in IT to be able to build up my stock portfolio to 100,000 so I can be able to borrow around like $75,000 to get in multifamily commercial real estate, just have some type of capital. But the main cause of that the main defect of it is margin call. If my stocks go down below what I'm borrowing, then Goldman Sachs going to liquidate my whole entire account. And that also takes a lot of time to be able to do, where credit, it's right then and there. It's 100% liquidity, non-dilutive. I don't have to go on Shark Tank. And at the same time, it's something I've been working for and doing my whole entire world. When I started credit, at the end of the day, it's something that everyone has access to, but nobody knows about it. Credit's not a subject taught in school for a reason, because they don't want you to know how easy it is to be able to get the capital that you need to be able to invest into your business. Plus the benefits of it is what? You got cash back, you got points, you have, certain Z-Bucks, you got the bill card that lets you be able to pay the rent. At the same time, you're able to use that at revolving credit. You pay off 20,000, you have 20,000 again. And you're building a stronger relationship with the bank. But at the end of the day, moving forward, it's easier to be able to go through credit than it is to be able to get a loan, especially for some businesses that are high risk classifications. Another reason too is because the banks check when you're putting your mailing address. It's not just to send your mail, they're checking your property value. They're seeing where you're at. And a lot of people from where I'm from, they wanted to start their detail shop. They wanted to do a barber shop, but they couldn't do it because of where they were at. And because the W-2 income that they had wasn't enough. But being able to put anticipated gross annual sales on your business, revenue, being able to put household income and actually proper strategically get the credit cards in the right type of way and the credit lines that actually benefit your credit report, then, it's easier to be done. It's a faster way for you to be able to get it. And, I wanted to help other people who were starting their businesses understand that, hey, it's not over just because the bank says you need 2 years of tax classification plus $20,000 in cash flow. Your credit score is at 805. Use credit.
Beautiful. You hit a few topics that in there that I want to deep dive. So you mentioned Shark Tank or getting investors. Is that correct? So I 100% agree with you. I think one of the things a lot of people believe is that they got to give equity away of their company to go and raise capital and do all that stuff. When in reality, again, if you have great personal finances and a great credit score, you can go get this all on your own. Now, here's the thing: when you're starting out, it's all on your own. So that's also a risk, right? Like that is also because even if let's say I'm the bank, right? And you come to me, Mr. Padilla, hey, Eddie, I want to borrow $50,000 to start this brand new business. I would ask you, cool, have you ever done that before? You'd be like, no, I watched a $500 course and I'm going to be a real estate investor all of a sudden or whatever it may be. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, hey, like, what are you talking about? That's crazy to me, right? So because again, you have no experience in doing that. This is also why the banks, when we're talking about bigger lines of credit, business loans and stuff like that, when a human underwriter actually sits down and talks to you, one of those questions is like, okay, cool. You want to open a pizza restaurant. Cool. How long have you ever managed, not worked at? Oh, I did the drive through or I did the picking up the phone calls. No, have you ever managed a pizza restaurant before? And if the answer is no, or like, oh, only for a day or two, then they're not going to give you the business loan. So they actually want to see someone in a managerial position running and operating that type of business. So here's the thing. At what point do you think it would be smart to find an investor, like going to Shark Tank and getting an investor to get a certain percentage of the company? Because here's the deal. And they come with their knowledge and expertise now. If I could get someone with that type of knowledge and expertise in my business now, holy shit, I would take that. If I were to give 5%, 10% of my company now to take me to $1 million a year to $10 million a year, I might consider that. What do you think? Like, what point is it where it's
At the point where you already have the company established. Most people who go on Shark Tank already have their companies established. It's not just starting off because most of the like deals that when they're starting off and they don't even have sales, they're not going to lend you no money. But it's kind of the same type of concept of multifamily commercial real estate. The bank's actually on my side because they're using the units and the property value from the net operating income to be able to determine, okay, did this person do the due diligence? What's the 35% expenses? What's 45% expenses? Does he still have cash flow? Doesn't really matter about the income that I make. But at the same time, like you said, I do want to have hard money lenders to be able to invest into it as well. Because at the end of the day, if the roof costs $1.2 million as a CapEx expense because we have to get a new roof, I don't have that type of capital. But my hard money lenders would have that type of capital where they could put it in an escrow account. And if I don't use it within the first 2 weeks, then it goes back into their, bank account. So it just depends exactly what you're trying to do with your business and how much capital do you need. Like, if you have $1.2 million and you need that for the inventory because you're back ordered and you have a contract deal with Walgreens or CVS, at the end of the day, that's the type of time where you would go and find that type of person who has that expertise and that knowledge in that area. But at that time, you're already kind of halfway there. A lot of people aren't going to invest into a business just because you're just starting it out. And even if you have all the knowledge in the world, it's about, all right, what's the actual, what can you show me? What's my return on investment?
okay? Yeah, exactly. I think we're on the same page. Yeah. At first, you got to bootstrap it. You got to show an investor that you're serious about this. And getting to that point, my 5 to 10 year goal is to do private equity. So my goal is to be able to help an entrepreneur who's already doing $500,000, $1 million in annual revenue and help them to get to the $10,000 a year. And actually I've been trying to help a few businesses earlier this year. And one of them, it was two people or three of us now because I became part owner because they wanted my help and my expertise, but they all had their own main business. Like the business that we partner up to work on together, it was their second priority. And so after a few months, I was like, you know what? I'm out of here because it's obvious that, and nothing against them. Like, it's like, hey, this is just not the priority for the three of us at all. Like, let's just focus on our priority. And then I met this guy in July. His name is Nick. He's a Hollywood producer and he had his own business, but he knew how to produce content. He doesn't know how to run a successful company. Right. And so he was making $20,000 a month doing that. And when I came and was like, hey, I need help with my content. And he's like, okay, cool. Awesome. And we got in a meeting and he's like, okay, cool. He wrote everything down and I said, okay, cool. How much would you charge me for that? And he's like, well, I can't even take you as a client. I was like, what do you mean? That's the whole point. We're on a fucking lunch meeting right now. He's like, yeah, I'm just too busy. But because you are so and so's buddy, I decided to come and meet you. And I was like, well, shit. Well, I need the help now, man. Like, so, and then we started talking. It's like, what's the thing that's stopping you? Oh, this, and this, and that. So if I can help you hire someone to take away these tasks out of your day, and now will you have time to help me out? He's like, yeah, okay, cool. How about do this? How about I come into your business? We partner up. We start a new company. We're 50-50 owners. I hire everybody. We set up the systems. I do all this for you. I get your business credit, et cetera, et cetera. And I teach you how to grow your company. And then we go 50-50 partnership on this new company. And he's like, fuck yeah. Now he's doing 10,000. Now he's about to hit $40,000 this month, just double his income. Because now helping him with all the expertise and all the business knowledge that I learned in the last 2 years, growing my company to $1 million, it's now I know what it takes, right? Like what to say on a sales call, how to market, how to hire people, how to manage them, how to communicate, how to like all these things that are very vital into a business. And then at that point, I think you would, if anybody's starting out and they want to get capital investments or they want to get someone to come into their business and help them grow, it's again, you first have to show that you're highly determined to do it. Because this guy, the reason why he's killing it, because this is all the only thing he does all day long. He's just hyper focused on this business. He's not distracted with a shiny dress girl walking around, right? He's hyper focused on his business, and then that's why I decided, fuck, I'm gonna go all on this guy. So for every single time I made it with people, I'm like, yo, you need like social media content manager. Like, dude, I got the guy, bro. I got the guy, man. So is that something that you can see that you agree with? Like, hey, first thing, just go all on yourself. You got to prove to yourself and everybody else that you got to do it. And then we can start talking about people coming into the business.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Perfect. Okay. For someone who is lost right now, 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, thinking about going to the military, or thinking about being an entrepreneur, they have no value, no skills, not even the correct mindset, but they see you. They see Justin Padilla at the club, fucking shaking champagne bottles, popping money everywhere, bro. I seen your IG videos, bro. Don't pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about. But then, right, let's say, yeah, they want to get to that point in life. Where do they start? Do they read a book? Do they watch a course? Do they watch it? What do they do?
You invest into knowledge, into yourself. The best type of investment is investment into yourself and getting your mindset right and being able to have discipline to be able to do what you have to do every single day. You have to think about what you're going to do and how you're going to be better than you were yesterday, last week, 1 month, a year ago. Life is about, like George Bernard Shaw once said, life is about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. So at the end of the day, you have to figure out a goal and a plan, but how you're going to be able to accomplish your main goal, your main dream, your main lifeline. So I would tell that kid that at the end of the day, hey, what do you want to do? Where are you at right now? What's your mindset? What do you think about? Are you mentally good? Are you physically good? And start working on those things. Because if you don't have that foundation yourself, man, you can try to do the business all day that you want, but if your mindset's not in there, your mentality's not there, then you're not going to make it because something bad is going to happen and you're going to flip out. Something bad is going to happen. You're going to give up.
Right. I totally 100% agree with you. But to our listeners, let's say again, they're 18 years old, 19 years old. When I first started out the whole entrepreneur stuff, I wanted to get into real estate. And every single time I took a course about it, every single time I went to a in-person 3-weekend event thing about it, the first few hours, the first thing they always talk about is mindset. Mindset this, mindset that. And back then, it's not that I dismiss it that much, but at a certain point, I was like, bro, just show me how to fucking make money, dude. Like, dude, yes, my mindset is all good, bro. Like, I just show me the money button. Like, I'm not going to press that bitch as fast as possible. So why?
Like, at the end of the day, mindset's huge. And if you're saying that everybody else is talking about and from the courses you've been to and every single course I've been to, it's the same type of way. If your mindset isn't there and you're not doing anything healthy for your mind, you have depression and you're not feeling good every single day, then you're going to have that call at 11 o'clock in the morning that you're not going to want to take because you don't feel good and your head's not in the right space. And sometimes with me, if I get in when I used to have a girlfriend, I would be like, hey, look, at the end of the day, if anything happens in the morning, do not say anything to me about it. Because if we argue in the morning, you're going to mess up the rest of my mood for the rest of the day. And that leads into our clients. So if your mentality isn't right, it's going to lead into your clients. It's going to lead into how you practice business. It's going to lead into how you network with people. But at the same time, what I would tell them is, you have to focus on yourself, make sure you have fundamental and a standpoint, going to the gym, having your own hobbies, having stuff that you like to do, keeping yourself right. So that way, when you're doing your business, everything that you're doing, you're in a good mood. You're pushing forward. Focus on credit. Credit's a key factor in anything you do in life. A home, a vehicle, a loan, a credit card. It's the biggest thing that you want to have. Cash is king, but credit is power. And then learn, read, You're not going to always learn everything from a course or someone speaking about, oh yeah, this is how I did this. But, they don't really give you the true fundamental of how they did it because that's their own secret sauce. So at the end of the day, the best way I learned was, yes, I went through your course and, it taught me a lot. But at the end of the day, I still had to go on my own and go read and understand everything myself.
You're looking back at it, it's one of the things that, let me ask you this question. What is the three things that makes a company successful?
What is the three things that make a company successful?
Yeah.
Discipline, intake, and learning when you're wrong and when someone else actually understands. Learning when you're wrong and when someone else is younger than you or haven't been in the business that long, you actually take their advice. Being coachable at the same time as being.
Nice. So you hit very valid points, but they're all part of the ones I'm going to mention. The three things that makes a company successful are: one, ethics. Number two is technical skills. And number three is admin. Ethics comes from the CEO, comes from you, the owner of the business. If you don't have the correct ethics, like, oh, I'm willing to fuck up with those clients for a little bit of money, that's going to determine how you run your operations, right? So the type of ethics that you have, like the values that you have, that you want to instilled into yourself and how you carry yourself, your life, it's going to lead into your company. It's going to show how you communicate with your clients, how you treat your employees, how you go ahead and you administrate your company. Because the job of a CEO is to to understand where does he want to take the company, right? That's why the mission statement is so important. And how are we going to get there? Am I willing to make fake police reports to delete items off a credit report, right? Like that's an ethic question that a lot of credit repair specialists got to ask themselves, right? And so, but that's going to land you in jail, right? So what type of ethics do you have, right? And so the whole job of the CEO and the owner is to create policies that then for their employees enforce. Okay, cool. The second one is where I'm going at: technical skills. No matter how much you love your clients, let's say you have amazing ethics, you will do anything for your clients. You love them. You will, legally, you're not going to do anything illegal, but legally speaking, you will do anything under the sun to make it happen for them. And you're not going to like take their money away or anything like that. No matter how much you love them, if you suck at what you're selling, they're going to go with the other company because like at the end of the day, they got to see results, right? So this is why, like, I'm glad that you did that, because even now looking back at it, I'm like, man, I've learned so much from also doing the same thing, going through other mentorships, going and start, trying and error, learning things, learning from banks, learning from underwriters, how to make this business even more profitable, or like actually how to help even more people, getting to the point like where I told you, I think I gave you a call the other day. I was like, dude, I'm working on a $5 million acquisition deal for a cannabis company. It's like, I've never done that before. And it's, dude, the numbers were just insane. So being able to go ahead and do that, that's what I'm saying. Like, you always got to keep refining and sharpening your tools, right? So that's where I 100% agree with you. And I'm glad that you did that, because me looking back at it, it's like, man, I've learned so much. And that's why I also want to talk to you about, we definitely got to get on a call and talk about stuff like that. The other thing, going back to the mindset thing, is I see this on a lot of entrepreneurs starting out. When I say mindset, it's like you said, like there's the usuals, like, okay, being positive, being, making sure that there's no negativity in your life. But I've noticed that the biggest problems with mindset of entrepreneurs is that they shoot themselves in the foot all the time because they're not aware of their own mindset, their own habits. Instead of closing that client, like if a client tells them no or something, like, let's just do this. Let's say, think about sales psychology. If the client tells them no, they don't deeper. They're like, okay, well, whenever you're ready, just give me a call. But understanding the no and being persistent and then going through and breaking it down, you're actually providing them a good service, because then you can really understand what's their pain points, and then you're going to be able to just solve them for that. And a lot of people have very bad mindset in order to be able to do that. So was there a time in your entrepreneurship journey where you noticed, man, I'm literally shooting myself in the foot here? Like, I'm the one stopping myself from making more money.
Before you ask this question, I have to go to the back, brother.
Go.
All right, give me 1 second, man.
All right. So was there ever a time where your own mindset was basically like shooting yourself in the foot, like stopping you to keep growing? Did you ever have a moment like that?
Yeah, I think we all have moments like that. Part where I started shooting myself in the foot was thinking I was good just because of my charisma in sales, and not going out to try to learn, more about the closing aspect, which, when that was happening, it's like what you said, when someone says no, you kind of don't really ask or, get into detail with it, because it's kind of like a standpoint where clients like that. But when I went through some sales training, I realized that, there's a fundamental way to be able to set up your sales pitch to where at the end of the day, you're getting a temp check. So, out of this product, out of everything I explained so far, how are you feeling out of 1 to 10? And then if the client says an 8, then when it comes back down to the end of the conversation, and I'm like, all right, so would you like to move forward? And they're like, oh, well, not right now. Like, I don't think about it. I can tell that person, well, Mr. John, earlier in the conversation, you said you were at an 8. What happened? What changed? What is something that, let's say we're not doing business anymore, something that you want to let me know that was going wrong with the process to where you didn't feel like this was it for you. So, before I wasn't doing that. I didn't try to go get any type of sales training. I didn't try to, find out how I can actually be a closer and not a seller. There's the difference between closer and the seller. Sellers are sleazy and, slimy. They're just trying to get a sale, and they only tell the client about all the good things. Being a closer, you want to understand, hey, this is where the client is, point A, he's getting to point B, and our product is the bridge to that. And you want to let the client talk.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. I think refining your skills and believing that you already have learned everything. Actually, my first credit mentor told me I joined actually Ruben's and Sean's 8-week mastermind thing or master credit course thing. And when I did, me and my old mentor, my very first credit mentor, we went out to get some food, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, yeah, you're not gonna learn anything new from them." Basically, because he was trying to say like everything that he taught me was already everything that I would ever need to learn about credit. And oh boy, he was fucking wrong. Like, I don't want to throw anybody in the bus. I truly respect this person because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even get into done credit. But if looking back at the course that I learned or everything I learned from him, I want to say that 80% of it was either not completely wrong, but just like not really accurate, or some of it was illegal. So it's like, God damn, like that led me to that led me to the right path in the right direction, but it wasn't truly the correct path, right? So, and funny enough, he was right. I did not learn credit stuff from Ruben and Sean. But it did still lead me down the path to meet people, network with people, and then find actually people who are very talented in credit as well, and then network with them and learn from them. So believing that everything is, yeah, it's definitely a mindset that's going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So next question: If you were to lose everything today, the cars, the houses, your reputation, they grabbed your brain, they dumped it into somebody else's brain, into somebody else's body, what would you do today? How would you start?
So if I lost my business and everything,
You lost everything.
lost my knowledge, I don't even know who I am.
Sure.
That's how it made it sound. You made it sound like I don't even know anything, period. So I'm just like, well, I can't really say I get back into credit or nothing because everything's gone. So in the specific standpoint, is that if I lost my business, if the business failed,
Yeah, if you were to start all over again.
I'd get back at it because I did lose everything in April. I lost, the business I was a part of with 5 Star Funding. I left that company and I started my own company, the Investment Insight. So at the end of the day, I feel like you rise like a phoenix out of the ashes. If you're truly into it and you really want to do it, you can lose it and you can bounce back, because that's exactly what happened with me. I bounced back. I found more clientele. I found more network, and I kept pushing. Just because I lost the other 2 partners out of the business, and those are the people that I started this business with and started the journey with, doesn't mean that I need to quit and just say, well, you know what? Hey, let me go back to IT. I said, no, I'm not going back to IT. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna push harder. I'm gonna be better, and I'm gonna not do it out of vengeance or revenge or to make them look bad or anything like that. Got love for them. Want to see the beach. It's not on my table. But at the standpoint of, you can always bounce back. It's about, what are you going to do? You throw it up 1,051 times, you get back up 2,052, you fall down to your knees and they don't think you're going to make it, or they underestimate your heart. They didn't see you had that resiliency to go that extra mile, but you do. You take that towel, you wipe the sweat off your face, you look them dead in the eyes and you smile. And, you just keep pushing, you keep moving, you invest into yourself. I keep saying that, invest into yourself. That is the best thing that you can do, is invest into yourself. That investment will always have a return for you. If you don't invest in yourself, you're never going to go far. You did the same thing. You invested into your knowledge. You invested into the credit game. You invested into learning more. You invested into going to networking events and meeting other people. That is how you make a life. That is how you make something for yourself. But if you're always spending it on all this other stuff and luxury items and stuff that you can't afford and going on trips, then you're never going to be your own person. You're always going to be working under somebody or doing something for other people, like social media. Everybody does stuff for everybody else. Just be yourself.
I find it so interesting that you say that, because every single entrepreneur that I've interviewed so far, all of them said the same thing. Because I asked them, if you were to lose everything, how would you start everything? And the first thing coming out of their mouth, they say, well, actually, it already happened. It happened X days ago or X months ago, where they're like, I was like, dude, that literally happens for every entrepreneur. They fail, they are constantly investing in themselves, and then shit hits the fan some way or the other. They lose everything and they have to build themselves from scratch. And this is why, again, it's so important that you keep investing into yourself, because that's the way that you're going to be able to keep getting up. And this is why if you were to take any billionaire, you take away everything away from them, they'll be a billionaire again in like 5 years. It's not going to take them that long because they already have all the knowledge that in order to get there.
You got everything. You got everything. You just lost one tiny thing. Business. Yeah, you worked hard for it and you was there. But at the end of the day, it's all in here. It's
Right.
all here. You got it. You locked and loaded with skill. Now you just in the test of your will. Life just says, I got a little bit more test for you. So go push again. You did it before. You can do it again. You can do it again. Don't give up on yourself. Keep going, man. And I swear, it was the best feeling for me. Because look, I'm doing this podcast. I'm out here. I'm helping other clients. I was actually approved by the United States Federal Commerce to work with the MBDA, Minority Business Development Agency. I have 42 locations across the United States. I help minorities learn about LLCs, anonymous LLCs, credit, how to actually understand their credit. And it's the best feeling. And that happened after everything. And it's because what you also said, it's ethics. I said integrity, because integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody's watching and being a good person. A lot of people, they're in business and they say, okay, well, we'll make 80% of the clients happy, 20% we don't care. I just feel like, it's not the thing I want to do. I want to treat every single client the exact same way. It's hard. It puts a lot of work on you. It's an entrepreneur. You traded a 9 to 5 for a 24/7. Yeah. But those clients that you treat good because you're being a good human being and actually in decency, those are those clients that see that and they'll come and they'll bring you other people. And that's the biggest part. Your perception is key. Perception is everything. At the end of the day, just being a good person, for me, that's where I think of my whole life. Being a good person, it's going to come back around. It may not come back when you wanted to come back, but it will come back around. Always be nice, be humble, be kind. You're not above anybody. You're not below anybody. Don't just take someone who's, they just got a divorce and they want to make some passive income and you think that you can just push them into an investment because,
Right.
They really want to do it. You're taking advantage of their emotions. When in reality, you should just say, hey, currently right now, with your financial stability, if you actually do take an investment into the Amazon automation at a $35,000 package, you're going to be paying a 1% minimum of $350 a month. Can you even afford $350 a month? When you get a divorce, you don't know where the house is going. If the house goes under your name and the car's going under your name, you never paid it because your husband was paying it. Okay. Be a good person. Don't just take the money.
Right.
Say, oh, well, what you can do is not pay the banks. And then what the banks are going to do, they're going to close your cards. Oh, go through credit repair. No, that takes too long. That can mess up a person's life,
You can get sued.
It's just too much. And for people who do, I don't know. I haven't met a credit repair company that can do credit repair in 30 days.
No, fuck no.
Like I understand there's some collections that, it can be removed. If it's not reported on Equifax TransUnion, I understand that process. I understand increase can be removed, especially Experian within 24 hours and so forth.
Right.
As far as like late payments, that I don't understand how you can get, someone who has 28 derogatory marks on each bureau in 30 days. And there's a lot of companies out here doing it. That's why when you said it, there's people making false police reports and so forth. Well, I just had a client from Miami who came to me and he was going through someone who was doing credit. Said he would get him like funding and so forth. Not gonna mention any names or anything like that. But pretty much it was a Miami guy, and he did his mom's credit repair, and I guess they falsified reports and said it was identity theft. Well, she just got served to court. So, there's a lot of credit repair companies out here that are doing things the slick, easy way to where, it'd be removed. It was removed for a month. And then it popped back up and then she got served.
Yep. Okay. So what challenges do you currently have now where, you're at a certain level now? What are the challenges that you have now as an entrepreneur?
I think the challenges, especially in the credit game, business I'm in right now is the perspective of credit is a scam. And people hear credit cards and they automatically think it's a scam. That's kind of like the biggest hurdles and readjusting, clients' expectations, warming them about credit. And especially a lot of clients that some clients like Laura Lagenheimer, she's one of my clients. She, net worth's about 17.5 million. There's those clients that they're older than you, they make millions. And when you're young and you're talking about credit, they don't understand the concept. So they kind of belittle it and they don't really want to learn it. And they think it's a scam because it's a credit card.
Right. People are just not aware. So how do you fix that?
So the way I fixed it is I just sit down and I explain to them exactly, why they think credit is a scam and why America doesn't teach credit and how credit can actually help. And it's like a simple example I give them is, you go out for a $20,000 loan, you get the $20,000 loan. Okay, got 7% interest every 6 months. All right, you got to provide all the documentation. It took a while for you to get. Well, you have an 850 credit score, and or not even 850. We're not gonna say. We're gonna say 812 credit score. I have an 812 credit score. Yeah, $60,000 in credit. You haven't went out for any credit cards in the last 2 years. Well, your business makes about 120,000. What if you just went for a Chase Income Limited card and was able to get that 35 to 50,000 or $75,000 at 0% interest for 12 to 18 months? What could you do with that? You're paying a 1% minimum. You're not paying any interest to the bank. And then at the end, you're getting points and rewards on top of that. So if you understand that you spend $20,000 a month on inventory, why are you going to take out a loan? Because once that loan's paid off, you have to go back to the bank. God forbid COVID happens. God forbid Ebola happens or so forth. So your business starts going down. Now we get back to that loan, especially because of how the economy is during that type of crisis. They're not really trying to lend out money. Businesses were failing during that time. Well, if you had credit, then it's revolving. So once that 20,000 was paid off, you still have that 20,000, right? And at the same time, those credit lines don't have to go off of debt to income. Most credit cards, when they're looking at your credit score, they're paying attention to your utilization. They're not paying attention to DTI. DTI does matter from the standpoint of what I've learned from some mentors and as well as relationship managers and branch executives, to where having loans on the account is a good thing to have. Only having credit cards isn't really that good, because it turns out the financial institutions will lend you more when they see that you have installments, because an installment has to be paid every single month regardless. But a credit card doesn't have to be paid if you're not using it. So I try to sit with them and explain to them, hey, I don't care if you sign my contract. I don't care if you don't want to go through funding. I just want to give you the knowledge about this. And if you decide to come back, you decide to come back. But if you don't, it's perfectly fine. This is just knowledge for you that I understand that you don't understand right now, but I would like to be able to explain it to you. So if you would like to take, a couple minutes right now and be able to sit here with me and I'll explain everything, you can do your own due diligence, bring this up to anybody. Matter of fact, you can even record the Zoom right now and we'll go through everything. And if you decide to come back, okay. And if you don't, it's perfectly fine. At least now you know how to analyze your credit. At least now you know how utilization counts, how payment history counts, how these inquiries are. And, that's the best thing I can do.
Absolutely. I love it, man. I love it, bro. Okay, so I know you got to go. Let me put a pause to the recording now.
All right.
Did I ask you what were the current challenges you were facing now as an entrepreneur at this moment? Did we
Yeah.
answer that, or do you want to just recuperate, go back to that?
So we did answer it to the fullest extent. We were talking about how the factor of people think that credit cards are a scam. So it's very hard for clientele to actually get a grip on exactly what I'm, doing. And I sit down with them and I let them know everything. And I say, hey, look, at the end of the day, if you want to go through the business, then you can. If you don't, it's perfectly fine. But at least now you know how credit is calculated. Now you know exactly how it goes. And if you ever want to come back, you can. If you don't, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. So how do you think someone should be able to go ahead and fix that problem?
I think the main way to fix a problem like that is to be open minded. A lot of people, when they don't understand a certain subject, they automatically have the assumption that it's wrong and it's not right. But at the end of the day, if we think about it, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's wrong. You have to try to at least be open minded and hear it out and try to understand it first. If you don't understand something like math, you didn't understand math at first, you didn't understand geometry at first, but you got to be open minded and try to learn it in order to understand it. So just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's not right. It's about being a cup that's half full. Be like Bruce Lee, be like water, my friend. Water flows in the cup, it becomes the cup. Water flows in the bowl, it becomes the bowl. A lot of people are like soda. When they don't understand something, the first thing that they do is become defensive and reactive towards a situation instead of actually hearing it out and trying to understand, okay, maybe this is right. And even if you don't understand at the end of the day, that's fine. But try to hear it out. Don't just be subjective and put a wall up.
Right. So I think obviously we're in the same credits in the same space. So trust me, that issue is something that I've had to confront throughout the years. And it's actually something that I've been able to solve fairly quickly now. However, I learned this from a business mentor of mine. He said, there's two things that you can do for someone. Number one is raise their level of awareness. And second is to put them in a position to make stupid amount of money. So the problem is that when people come to you and you're like, hey, you need to get business credits, and like, okay, cool. Like what's business credit? And you're like, oh, there's business credit cards, there's lines of credit, et cetera, et cetera. And when they see your credit cards, they're like, whoa, I don't want that. Right. Because their entire childhood, they've been told, stay away from credit cards. Credit cards
Yeah,
are
it's only used
or
for your items and so forth, and it's only used for bad things and bad debt. But that's why I've made a PDF file for that. So I made a PDF file that goes over why credit's not a subject taught at school, and bad debt and good debt, and how credit could actually be used in the right way if you're using it to be able to invest into an investment or your business to where you understand your return on investment. So I
right.
don't.
So what you're doing there is you're raising the level of awareness of how to properly use a credit card, and you're deconstructing myths by being able to then give them the knowledge, and then they'll be, oh my God, what I was told by my parents, by my grandparents, by society, I can see now why that is incorrect and why there was misunderstandings in the first place. So that's why it's like it is so essential in your position to just raise the level of awareness from people. Because trust me, I get this all the time from people, especially real estate investors, because real estate investors are notorious for just using cash for everything. Right. So when you tell them, hey, you need to start out with a business credit card, they're like, no, 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 I just want cash. I was like,
Yeah,
understand that a bank is not just going to give you cash. And so let me ask you this. I find out that a lot of people don't even understand what the purpose of a credit product is for. So because let me give you this an example. How do the banks make money? The banks make money from obviously multiple ways, but one of the main ways is by lending money out there. If that is their product, right? Money is the product. Them lending money product like is their product. Why in that case do they have multiple credit products that do the same thing, right? If they just make money from people letting borrow money, why don't they just have one product called money and then, hey, Jay, you want money? Here it is, boom, at this interest rate, right? Why do you think that they went through the entire trouble of creating a mortgage, an auto loan, a credit card, a line of credit? Dude, it's all money, right? It's all debt, it's all credit. Why do you think the banks went out of their way to create these credit products?
I think the reason these banks went out their way to find different products to invest, to lend out money to, is because at the end of the day, think about all the different credit cards. Most clients don't want a certain credit card. Some want just 3% cash back on their groceries and gas. Some clients want points. Some clients don't even care about the Amex Platinum. They rather have the Amex card in order to pay 60 days instead of every 30 days. At the end of the day, these different products are able for the bank to always have something to be able to lend out. You need to get an auto loan in order for what? You to get a nice card. You can go and save up money, $3,000, $5,000 and go get a used car. But if you want that nice Lamborghini, you have to build up your loan history in order to get there.
Yeah,
Uh,
but okay, so that's what I'm saying. So what's the purpose? Like again, why do the banks create an auto loan versus a mortgage loan when it's the same thing? It's just a loan for a certain amount.
and you got to
But
think about
what's
that
the
as well. Certain assets have different depreciation values. Certain assets appreciate in a different way. Like a vehicle can depreciate 18% per year compared to, depending on the housing market, it can appreciate in value. And then the bank actually has an asset to where in 30-year mortgage, if you don't even pay it off and you miss your payments, guess who that house belongs to now? It belongs to the bank, and the bank now has that asset. Same thing with the vehicles. The vehicles are going to have different interest rates based on what? The age of the car, the mileage of the car. For what reason? It's because they understand that product has a certain return on investment if you don't make your payments, if they repossess it, if they're able to sell it. It's all about the assets that you have for the bank. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, every single loan you have, a house loan, personal loan, vehicle loan, it is an asset. It is something that the bank can take away from you. When you get your vehicle loan, you have to sign the bank on the title. So that way, if you don't pay, now the bank owns that vehicle. Now the bank owns that home. I really think that American dream, when they said everybody needed to get a house, the banks just one day just all sat together and said, what's something that we can get people to go into for 30 years and pay us every month and have something that they think is the American dream.
Oh
When in
man.
reality, it's paying the bank. And at the same time, if you think about it, a lot of people may not like this, and I'm not trying to be politically correct in any type of way. So anybody who's listening, please hear this out. America's not a country. America's a corporation. And at the end of the day, the people give the corporation life. You get a 0.003 dividend inside your bank account because the banks are lending out your money. You are the lender. The bank is not the lender. The bank doesn't lend the money. It lends the money of the people that are storing their money inside the bank. That's how the banks work. That's why you get your little dividend. And that's why you're able to dispute anything on your credit report because you are the lender.
I see where you're coming from. No, I totally agree. The reason why I asked this is because a lot of people fail to understand the difference between the credit products. Like you said, okay, like you said that there's differentiation between the type of what you're buying. You're like hitting it right in the nose. So again, the reason why the banks created all these different products is because there's different purposes for each product. So for example, I ask almost every single credit expert, what's the purpose of a credit card?
What's the purpose of a credit card?
Yeah. So, like, again, so let me give you this an example because here's the thing this is what people fail to understand that the banks want to know that you understand how to use the credit product that you're applying for. Okay. So, this works great on the reconsideration line when you're calling, you get denied because
Yeah,
when you
a lot
can
of banks think that.
express exactly how you're going to use the credit product. Then the underwriter goes, okay, this guy actually understands his shit. For example, let's say you're Jeff Bezos, you're like one of the wealthiest people in the world.
Mhm.
Let's say Jeff Bezos also has an 850 credit score, perfect credit score, right? If
Yeah.
he walks to Chase Bank and goes, "Hey, I want to apply for a $250,000 auto loan," the bank is going to be like, "Awesome, Mr. Jeff Bezos. Like, what car are we buying today?" If Jeff Bezos turns around and says, "Hey, I'm not buying a car. I'm going to take this auto loan, $250,000 auto loan, and put it on a commercial development, residential commercial property." No matter what, the bank is going to go like, okay, Mr. Jeff Bezos, totally understand now. I'm going to deny you for the auto loan, but let me go ahead and give you the appropriate credit product that you're looking for. If all of a sudden Jeff Bezos does get approved for the $250,000 auto loan, doesn't tell the bank that he's going to move the money to an escrow account for a commercial development property, they're going to fucking recall that auto loan as soon as they find out. Because
Yeah.
again, that's not the intended use of the credit product. No matter if he has great finances, doesn't matter if he has an amazing credit score, because he didn't use the money or the credit product correctly, then he's going to get recalled on. Right. So I ask people this all the time, credit experts. So, Jay, what's the purpose of a credit card?
To be honest, man, I can't really tell you what the purpose of that credit card is because usually what they teach us in school is that credit cards are used for emergency situations and when you don't have money. But at the end of the day, when I let my clients know to call into the reconsideration line for any type of personal cards, I don't tell them to say, hey, this is for my business. I say, hey, we want to let them know I want to build a relationship with you. And because I'm going to be taking my family out, this summer, and I wanted to really use this card because of the points and awards it has for certain restaurants and so forth. Banks, they want, like how you just said, they want to know how you're going to use it. And they don't, when it comes to the personal side of credit, they don't want to hear, oh, you're using this for business. When it comes to the business side of credit, yes, they want to hear you using it for business. So at the end of the day, man, when you're asking specifically, what is the purpose of that credit card? The credit card, as I see it, is to be able to lend out that money to a client that understands the financial responsibility it has. But at the same time, if you really think about it truly, a personal credit card gives you the 0% interest for the 12 to 18 months or 15 months. For what reason? To get you in the door to be able to buy things that you know you can't afford because you don't understand credit. And most clients don't understand credit
Mhm.
because they get mail and they say they've been pre approved. You have been pre approved. That's a third party company that's sending you that information. And they're just wanting you to, try to apply. You're not going to get approved based on that. You
Right.
still have to have your factors of credit right in the 7 factors. But at the end of the day, they get you in there. So what? You go, you buy $2,000, $3,000 worth of, whatever you wanted to buy, whether it's luxury items or a vacation. It suckers you in at the 0%, but then you can't end up paying it off. And then what are you stuck with?
Interest.
The APR.
Yeah.
And then they keep you in that cycle. And that's what the
Right.
banks want. That's why they give you that
Right.
product.
On the personal side, we're most of our listeners are going to be entrepreneurs and business owners. So let's take this that example for the business. Okay, for example, what is the purpose of a business credit card?
I see a business credit card in the purpose of expenses or inventory, such as like the Plum card. Usually I get my Amazon automation or Walmart automation clients or any client that has inventory turnover to where it's 35, 45 days, that type of card, because at the end of the day, it has a 60-day payout. So you can pay it off in 60 days instead of 30, and it goes up to 400,000 based on your spending limits. Same side, it's going to be on the business side. So the company wants to understand, hey, if you're using this for business, what are you really going to be using this for? It's like what I still ask my clients when you get this funding, how are you going to be able to make the money back for the investment that you're putting in? What is your return on investment? Is your inventory turnover rate 30 to 45 days? Like that's what these banks want to know, especially on that business side. That's why they're asking for, cash flow when it comes to loans and so forth. But as business credit, it doesn't really ask for that type of information. But same side, business credit, if you think about it, Their 0% only 6, 9 months. Maybe sometimes you'll find a good card that's 12 months, 15. But end of the day, business credit and the banks want to know, hey, if you're using this, it's usually for what? Supplies, uniform, gas, going out to eat for dinners, flights, and so forth on the business side aspect.
Right. You're
Maybe
very
you can educate me.
yeah, you're very on the nose. Like I love it. You're very on the nose. So let me give you the sauce. So let's just talk in general, broad terms. Each product, you got to take a look at how it's constructed. So for example, we got credit cards and we got lines of credit. So you got revolving lines of credit and then you got installment loans, right? Those are the two majority types of products that you have for credit products. For the revolving lines of credit, or which are lines of credit and credit cards, you got to take a look at the payment terms, right? So, for example, a revolving line of credit is gets paid off how often? Every 30 days, right? And as soon as you bring it down to zero, you're able to use it again. So inherently, that type of credit product, you need to spend that credit on stuff that you got to be able to pay it off in when? In 30 days. Okay.
No one's closing it.
Right? So this is where a lot of people make a fucking shit ton of mistakes when they call the reconsideration line. What do you need this credit card for? Oh, it's because I'm gonna do an investment. Dude, when an underwriter hears an investment, they hear long term. How long is gonna take for me to get this investment back? So immediate denial just because you said investments. If
Yep.
it so if you said like now let's take it down like specific for business credit. If it's gonna be business credit, working capital. That's what it is. If you Google this, like this is very easy to Google. Like you Google, what is a credit card used for? Is for expenses that you can pay off back in 30 days. So on the personal side, groceries, gas, light bill, rent, whatever you can pay off with a credit card that you can already making like personal expenses, right?
Some people don't even know that you can pay your rent with your credit card.
Correct. So there's multiple things as long as in a 30-day thing that you're already spending on. Cool. Same thing on the business side. On the business side, it's working capital, it's inventory, it's something that you're going to be able to pay it back in 30 days. It is marketing expensive, payroll, it's going to be the rent, so electricity, what all of these working capital expenses. So if and think about it for as a bank, you can tell them like, hey, I already have these working capital expenses. I spend about $35,000 a month on average right now. And so this is why I'm asking for a $40,000 credit card. That way I can move those expenses over to on a credit card because I'm already using cash to pay it off every single 30 days. You're literally telling them that you're not inherently adding more debt into your business, that you are already making these expenses every single month and you've been doing it for a while. And this is like set pricing. Like not all of a sudden you're just going to max out the credit card and it's going to stay like that maxed out for 12
Trigger
months.
financial review as well. Sometimes it can trigger a financial review.
Correct. And so the reason why it triggers a financial review because you're not using the credit product
So,
appropriately. That's why I'm like, I understand. Like I tell people this, hey man, if you need to bootstrap your business, we're gonna fucking bootstrap it. Like let's get your but just understand that you're not gonna be using the credit product at correctly how the banks want you to use the credit product. But so your priority is to pay that down as fast as possible. That way, no financial review happens. And so, as long as you know the rules, you can bend them. But you first got to know the rules because then you don't want to get caught with your dick in your hand, wondering what why is the bank closing my account down when I have like $25,000 worth of debt in it?
risk. You're a high risk investment for them. They see that you're using that card that you just got 1 week ago. You just maxed it out. They don't understand if you're going to actually be able to pay that.
So think about it like this. Let's say I want to open a restaurant. I'm already a restaurant. I already have 5 locations and I want to expand. I'm not going to go get a $10,000 credit card and then put the purchase of the restaurant and the $50,000 of equipment I gotta buy for like the oven, like all these things, right? To be able to make the restaurant run and do all these opening things. What I would do instead is get an expansion loan, right?
That's something the banks can also say too. They're going to be like, well, if you're telling me that you're going to be using this for 45,000 for our initial investment of something you're getting into, then let's get you a business loan,
Right.
installment for multiple months. But why am I going to get you this credit card? Because they want you to pay every 30 days.
Right.
That's what the bank wants to see.
So this is why banks, when a lot of banks, when you go and apply for something, they allow you to double dip on like a line of credit, a business credit card, and a loan or something like that. Why? Because they understand, okay, hey, I'm a restaurant owner. I have 5 locations. I want to expand to a sixth one. Well, hey, I need an expansion loan. Boom, get that. I also need about $25,000 for capital expense or, marketing expenses and capital expenses to run the restaurant. Okay, boom, $25,000 credit card and maybe a line of credit for inventory or something like that, right? The other thing I tell people all the time is, okay, line of credit. What's the purpose of a line of credit, Jay?
What's the purpose of the line of credit? The purpose of the line of credit is to be able to get that initial credit depending on what you need your business for. So, as example, you get 45,000 in that line of credit is to be able to pay off that line of credit within that.
Well, here's the thing. Why did the banks create the difference between a credit card and a line of credit? It's the same thing. It's a revolving account. You pay it off in 30 days. So why make the difference?
Hmm. Explain it to me, brother.
And I got this from
No wisdom,
I
master.
yeah, I got this directly from an underwriter. So this is not like I'm not coming. So I actually I have a personal relationship with the vice president of the entire underwriting team in the M&T Bank. So I've been getting one-on-one lessons with him. I've been paying him hourly just for that, and this is coming directly from him. And I confirmed this with all the other underwriters that I have in my arsenal. The whole point of a line of credit, especially on the business side, is to cover the cash flow shortage of a business between their AR log and their AP log. Do you know what those are?
Ooh. The AR loan or the AP loan?
Right. In AR log, it's called accounts receivable. AP log
Accounts
is
payable.
account payable. Okay.
Oh,
So basically, let's say you're a manufacturer. The US government comes and be like, hey, Jay, you're a manufacturer for weapons. I need X amount a month. So let's say it's $1 million. It's going to cost you, let's say, 100 grand to create, you buy, get the raw materials, the steel, the plastic. It's going to take you, let's say, 30 or a week or two to produce, let's say, $1 million worth of guns. You sell it to me, ship it to me, you send me an invoice. The invoice is due in 30 days. So as soon as you send the invoice, it gets sent to your AR log. Boom, on your AR log, it now says that the United States government owes me $1 million. But as the United States government, I have 30 days to pay you. So I'm gonna wait for 30 fucking days to pay you. Right? Let's say now Costa Rica, Mexico comes to you and be like, Mr. J. Padilla, I also want $1 million worth of inventory from you. You're going to be like, well, shoot, I can't fulfill your order until 30 days because the United States government owes me $1 million and I have no more cash flow. I have no more money to go buy the raw materials to produce the $1 million and blah, blah, blah. Well, a line of credit is where a bank comes in and goes like, okay, so your air log is your business is set up where your air log takes 30 days to get paid out. So we're going to create a line of credit for 30 days. It looks like you get about 1 to 10 new customers every single month for this amount. So we're going to give you this amount of credit limit, right? So you can accommodate, the 1 to 10 new customers every single month you're getting. It costs you about this much to produce this amount of weaponry. So we're going to give you this credit limit and it's going to be due every 30 days because your invoice system is set up for every 30 days. And so that's what a line of credit is for, is to fix the cash flow problem so that you're no longer waiting for your invoices to get paid so that you can fulfill new orders.
so a quicker inventory child. Quicker child, right? Not inventory child, a quicker child.
Cor- Correct. That way you don't have a cash flow problem. And if you can show that to the banks, boom. And this is why when you want to get lines of credit and loans and stuff like that, they're willing to use your AR log. You're just a piece of sheet of paper as collateral against, and it's like really good collateral. We're talking about 70 to 90% of your AR log. What do I mean by that? So if your AR log says that people owe you $10 million because you're waiting for these invoices to get paid, you can use that $10 million as collateral for something new. Why? Because the banks understand, well, this guy, Jay, already fulfilled on his order. He just has to wait 30 days to get paid. Fuck yeah, that's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
That's guaranteed money for the bank. So Hale's like, fuck yeah, I'll give you 70% of your AR log as a line of credit. So you can, dude, it's just a simple piece of paper, bro. That's it. And then for inventory is anywhere from 30 to 50%. Why is that less? Why is the AR log more important than the account than the inventory? It's because with the AR log, the seller or the client, the customer was already found, and now the customer just owes you money. On the inventory, you still got to find a customer for it. So it's more work for the bank. And this is why now, because now at this point, they're not in the industry. They're not in the industry of manufacturing weapons. They don't know who they should sell it to, how it works, and who what is a good price point for these items, and blah 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 blah. They take a smaller percentage because they're probably going to have to liquidate it in a bulk. So like, hey, if this is worth $1 million, I'm only going to guarantee like 30 to 40% of it, because if you go under and I have to collect all this millions of dollars worth of inventory, I would have to sell it in bulk. I'm not going to go sell it individually. That's not what I'm in the business of. I'm going to have to sell it to another company in bulk, and they're going to give me a fucking really low price for it.
Yeah, risk management.
Right,
Exactly.
man. Exactly. So this is understanding why the bank has different products. Is now you can go to the bank and be like, I want to apply for a line of credit. And you don't sound like a dumbass talking to them. Oh, I want a line of credit because I want to take it all on in cash, and then I'm gonna do some fucking shady shit, risky investments here and there. And they're gonna be like, and
It's
then
not
like,
like a business professional who understands what they're doing. He actually did your due diligence.
right,
That's
exactly.
what
Like,
the point
you
is.
know exactly what you're going to be using it for. This is why business plans are also amazing. This is why I was telling you, like, hey, for your clients who have W-2s, this is amazing, dude. Do this. Get their W-2s for the last 30 years. Get a financial statement from them. It's just a piece of paper. I can send it to you. Is you just fill it out. It's a financial statement, basically showing like, okay, how much money you're coming in, how much personal debt do you have, et cetera, et cetera. And then on the business side, you can have a business plan, and then you can have projections for the next 2 years, month to month. So, what do I project that my business is going to do for the next 2 months? Right? If it's especially if it's a new business, this is a must for SBA. You give that for even a credit card application, a line of credit, anything. Holy shit, the underwriter is going to be so impressed, because you're literally telling them exactly how are you going to spend this money, how are you going to use this credit product, and how are you going to pay them back?
They understand that you have a plan. You actually know what you're doing, and you actually did due diligence to actually uphold exactly what you're asking for.
Right, correct. So yeah, dude, that was a big fucking revelation in my business. That was like, holy shit. That was the big difference, because now I'm working with people who have like $300,000 in W-2 income coming in, plus, residential or, real estate to use as collateral for anything else. Right. So they have amazing chances of just getting $500,000 lines of credit, multi-million dollar lines of credit for their business and everything like that. Is there any other challenges that you currently are facing with your business besides that, just the lack of awareness from clients?
I mean, that's really it. At the end of the day, that's really the only issue that I face so far. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I love to help people. And with the standpoint of how this business is, it's just the lack of understanding of credit. Everything else is pretty simplex. Marketing, advertising it out, and doing organic engagement, I feel is the best way to get their engagement to come to the business as well.
Nice. Now, who I know that I was one of your mentors, but who are your mentors now that you're at the position that you're in?
Jack McCall,
Jack McCall.
Jack Cadet, that's what his name is. Instagram. He is one of my biggest mentors. I have a meeting with him every Tuesday and with our credit stacking community as well. At the end of the day, he's taught me a lot. At the standpoint, he's one of my mentors. And that's currently my only mentor in the credit stacking space, because at the end of the day, usually with you as well, still as a mentor, because I just learned about the credit line and so forth, and the differential between accounts payable and receivable. But other than that, I don't really have any mentors in the space, because most of these guys who do the credit stacking that I've seen from different companies, won't mention any names, they do it in a not so legal type of way. And
Right.
or what they do is they'll tell their clients they'll get the 0%, but then when they're going through the funding, they'll get them a card that actually has interest.
A few years ago, when I was a lot smaller, there was this gentleman that messaged me. I was living in Carlsbad at the time, and he messaged me like, "Hey, bro, I'm super like I love what you're doing. You're an idol. I love learning from you. I like the free shit that you post on Instagram. I see that you're in San Diego. I'm in San Diego too. I would love to take you out to dinner." And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Why not? Whatever. And so we went out. We were chatting, and he told me that he had a mentor, a credit mentor already. And I was like, oh, as soon as he said the name, I knew who he was talking about. This guy, I don't want any names. I don't want to drop names, but this guy makes a lot of TikToks and he's funny. And so hopefully that gives you guys a clue. But anyways, I was like, "Oh, cool. What are you learning from him?" Like, "Yeah, man, I learned a lot from him and I'm implementing what I learned from him." I'm like, "Cool. What did he tell me to do?" So this guy told the guy who took me out to eat, he's like, "Go ahead and get an LLC. Either you can buy an LLC or start a new one." But he told him just start a new LLC. So a month old LLC. He got a month like he started a company. By the time I was talking to him and at dinner, it was only a month old. He told this guy to go to Chase and on the credit application to put that the company was 8 years old, to completely lie on the application and that it was making over $8 million a year.
That's ridiculous.
Just like to finesse everything, like completely bullshit lied the entire application. And I was
It's,
like,
it's
dude,
actually
that is credit card fraud. That is
100% credit card fraud. And people don't read the terms and agreements to that as well. Because in terms of agreements, it says to actually answer everything truthfully. I've had clients where they've had an LLC 1 month and Chase has given them $33,000 on the Chase Income Limited. So
Mhm.
you don't have to lie about the age of your
You're right.
business. You just need to know how to set up your business to where it doesn't actually specifically state exactly what industry it is in, and also classify the business in the EIN in the standpoint where it's a low risk classification as long as it's not going too far out the way.
Right.
Uh, but at the standpoint, also, what, as we know, have a business email address, have a website, have an actual business address, have a business phone number, because the banks look at this. Do not go get a virtual address that
Mhm.
is a PO box.
Right.
Are no, they actually will send somebody out to go look at your address. They actually will go
Well,
investigate.
actually, so the way that they do it, actually, funny enough, I was talking to again the guy from M&T Bank, and he's like, a credit card is such low risk to the banks that the likelihood of them doing that is not quite high, to be honest with you. They would definitely do it for other depending on the bank, the size of the bank. Like
Yeah.
M&T Bank for almost any credit card or line of credit, they will want to go to your office, meet you in person, and blah blah blah, and do all that stuff. But if you're going to apply a Chase, the likelihood of them doing that is very low. However, the way that they verify it is through the United States Postal Service. So what they do is they connect the server of the United States Postal Service to the bank, to the credit card application online. And then if it comes out as a mail receiving agency, an MRA, it will get flagged. So actually, it's real time. So a lot of the times when you put that address in there, it tells you you can't use a PO box. This you can't use this address.
And sometimes in certain credit card applications, it will say it underneath the address, no PO boxes.
Right, correct. So again, could you finesse some banks? Yes, but do we recommend that? No, because
Oh,
not at all. Don't fucking do that. The banks will not like that at all. There was also I got another guy who was telling me, "Oh yeah, for my clients, what I tell them is that if they don't want a personal guarantee any of these credit cards, to all of a sudden just instead of your social security number on the business credit application, to put the EIN number." And I was like, that sounds like bank credit card fraud again because they're asking for your social security number. They're not asking for a EIN number. So you're fraudulently lying on the application. And I even confirmed this with multiple underwriters, and they said the banks are not okay with that. If they're asking for a social security number, you have to input your social security number. And anyways, even if you don't, they got enough information on you to hold you liable. They can go to you, take you to court. So if you default on that money, dude, that shit's gonna appear in your credit report. Like they got your social already, bro. Like and they already got it. So again, it's just a bunch of shady things out there when people got to be very careful with these credit gurus. And I was actually telling people this is like, man, I wish there was some sort of administration that, like, for example, if you want to be a real estate agent, you have to get licensed. If you want to be a, mortgage broker or originator, loan officer,
yeah,
license. I wish there was some sort of license to be a credit specialist because then here's the thing. Then we wouldn't get such a bad rap when we get on call with somebody like, "Oh, I heard this is shady." I was like, "Yeah," because there's a lot of fucking shady people out there. They take one $200 course and now they're credit experts. It's ridiculous. It's
just post it
crazy.
random banks and wonder why most of their applications are getting declined.
Then they wonder why their credit cards get shut down like a few months later when the bank actually does like a financial review or something, or when they fucking fuck up and they use a CPN and then they get like, and fucked by the government. Yeah, it's everybody out there. Just be careful with who you listen to. It's crazy shit.
It's really crazy. There's a lot of people that are just be out here trying to get money, and they'd be getting money real quick, or they'll charge you upfront funding. I do back end,
Right.
so
Exactly.
and that's what I like because at the end of the day, my client received the capital, it's approved, he has it, he's seeing it. It's just like when you go to a restaurant. When do you pay? You pay at the end after the services are done.
Correct. Correct. Awesome. So let's go to some personal development questions because again, I believe that business development is personal development. So where exactly did you grow up, man?
So I grew up in Killeen, Texas for it.
Where what Texas?
Killeen, Texas, Central
Never
Texas.
heard of that, bro.
Know about it, but if you're military, for it's the biggest United States military installation base. It's in Central Texas, about 45 minutes away from Austin. It's a small town, it's a military town only. Growing up there, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm from the Bronx, I'm from Houston, I'm from this and that. When I was growing up there, man, it was walking down the street and someone saying, "Hey, man, what size shoe you wear?" You get pressed every day. There's always something or stuff going on. We have the steps. Growing up there basically was one of those aspects of if you didn't get out of there, you could be stuck there. And a lot of my always, and old friends that I had, they're stuck there and they're still there doing the same thing. So that's why I usually tell a lot of people when you're getting out of high school or you're going into college, man, like leave your hometown. Well, like I got out the military, I could have went back to Texas, but I knew if I went back to Texas, I was going to be around the same people doing the same thing. Coming out here to Florida, I didn't know nobody, nobody. And it was the best self development that I could have had because it taught me how to be not just outgoing and being able to reach out to people, but also and maybe be by myself to realize that, sometimes when you're with your friends, if your friends are, if there's not a person in your group that is doing better than you, then you don't have a circle of friends. You got a cage. You're not going to grow. And coming out here to Florida and not having anything, it really taught me how to be by myself and I got a lot of stuff done quicker. I didn't have people hit me, "Hey, man, let's go here. Hey, let's go out, bro. Hey, man, come play spades, man. We got the joke dudes. We got the liquor on the table." You know what I'm saying? It let me develop on my own and, have time for myself and be able to actually explore, who I am and what I like to do without having any type of distractions.
That's amazing. Yeah, because does the environment that you're in dictates who you become. It obviously you can succeed in any environment. It is so much easier to work on yourself and become better when you change your environment 100%. So if anybody like feels like they're in a toxic, like they're not achieving what they want to achieve, you got to change your environment.
Change your life. You're a product of your environment.
I think I've seen it on some of your Instagram reels as well. You talked about how when growing up, you got a lot of people who hustle, but they would hustle in the illegal side of entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who hustle in the other side of the entrepreneurship, but like I said, the game's going to change, but the hustle always remains the same. Mainly in the reel that I talked about, it was me and my best friend Henry that I've known since first grade. He lived 5 houses up the road from me. He taught me everything about how to hustle, how to get shoes, how to get the things that I needed. Because my family didn't make that much money, so I didn't always get the best things. I would get like, handy down South Pole jean shorts, South Pole shirts and stuff. And, people make fun of you for stuff like that where I was from. You gotta have the fresh clothes on or you're gonna get made fun of and you gotta get bullied. But we used to walk around the neighborhood and we'd always dream about, what I'm doing currently. One day we'll be there. One day we'll be living downtown in the city and high rise and we'll be business owners and we'll be making our own way. We won't work for nobody. And to be here now, it's
Man, South Pole clothing takes me back, bro. So
that's yeah.
dude, I also grew up in a neighborhood next, like similar to yours. We have the military base right here, one of the biggest navies in San Diego, right, National City right here, and so there's a lot of military influence here. And also, I live in National City, where back in the day it was a lot ghettoer than what it is now. It is still considered a little bit of the ghetto, but it's getting better now. But anyways, I had the same type of influence where the people around me here, like, dude, I go back one time. I went back to my father as well works around here as a motor machine mechanic. We went to go and pick up some stuff for him at his work, and when I parked right outside, I see my childhood friend in the corner sitting down across the street without a shirt, and then the police pull up, and then he goes. "Fuck," like all over again, like if he had been in running with them all the time, and yeah, I'm like undress. What the fuck? Like that was one of my closest friends in high school, and it hit me so hard. Like the fact that I got so lucky that my parents decided to take me to private school, got me out of the ghetto. I still had my issues there because I was the kid from the ghetto in a private school, right? And so I felt like I never belonged there. But anyways, like growing up, and this is why I also told people like I don't like roller coasters. I know this is a weird deviation, but like
Good deviation.
I don't need more adrenaline in my life, bro. Like all my childhood, it was like, am I gonna get shot? Like let's run
Am
this.
I gonna get shot? Am I gonna get shot? That's what you just said, really?
Yeah, dude, it was ghetto, bro. Like I don't need more adrenaline in my life. Like I don't need roller coasters. I don't need to go
Need
skydive.
that scared. I don't need that hype like that, man. I don't
Exactly.
need the rush. I got the rush. I'm done with
Like
the rush.
that's what a lot of people don't fucking understand is like, dude, growing up in these type of neighborhoods puts such a hustle in you. And it makes you want to obviously either you get trapped in it or you get the fuck out of it.
That's 100%. That's really 100%. And that's what my federal government teacher, Travis Walton, told me. It's either you get out of here or you stay stuck here.
Did you graduate high school?
Yes, I did graduate.
School? And were you always like, I like school, I like learning, or you said that's not for me?
It wasn't for me. My grandparents raised me. I didn't have my mother or my father in my life during the time period. I was trying to get close with my father. My father was a Marine. And, basically I kind of joined the military because it's one, what I wanted to do. Two, that's kind of during the time where ISIS was going around and I wanted to be out there. But I also wanted to, make my dad proud of me to like, be a part of my life. Right. So at the end of the day, college, it just wasn't something that I understood. Like, why am I going to, college 4 years? And the first 2 years, I'm doing general studies and I'm doing the same shit, English classes and all this. Like, I want to get into something. If I want to do criminal justice, I want to start learning about criminal justice. If I want to do IT, I want to start learning about IT. What is the purpose of this college? Like, all I see it is as hella debt.
Right.
So I die, my kids are paying it, and then my kids are gonna still be paying it. At the end of the day, for a piece of paper nowadays, to where you have that bachelor's degree and you can get a job in any other career field. The bachelor's degree back in the day, you used to be able to work for a summer, be able to pay for school, and when you have a degree, you'd be able to get the job what that degree pertained to. But nowadays, it doesn't really matter. Like when you go to the military, you have a bachelor's degree, man. You can have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and then end up as a dentist, as an officer. Like you just need a bachelor's degree in order to become an officer in the military.
Which is so dumb because it doesn't mean hardly anything.
It really doesn't. At the end of the day, I see it as really when I would hire people as an IT director, I saw it as a piece of paper. It is a piece of paper. That's all it is. It's a piece of paper that's worth over 50, 60, $80,000, depending on what you're doing,
Man, sometimes more,
And
bro.
don't get me wrong, there's some career fields where you need to go to
Yeah.
school, being a doctor, and the more, career fields that are very pertinent to everyone's lives. But I kind of see it as, we should be giving that education out for free. That education should be coming for free. If you want, like, you can pay for board, you can pay for living on campus, pay for food and stuff like that. But as far as paying 50, 80,000, like people were paying that type of money when COVID hit and they weren't even in the schools.
Right.
You
Yep.
know,
And
well,
they didn't even refund them the payments for the food and the board.
yeah, and then at the same time, man, it's like that money just goes to the college institution to make it look better, to fix it up, but it doesn't really pertain to anything that's actually gonna make you better. People get financial degrees and don't even know credit. I've talked to people with a finance degree, a master's in finance, and they don't even know how a FICO score is calculated. They don't even know what the difference between having debt to income, debt service coverage ratio, and all the different aspects of how credit can pertain and how you can actually leverage it. Like that's what blows my mind. It's just teaching you the basic fundamentals. Because even in the military, we go through basic training and then you go through tech school. Tech school, you learn your job. Well, guess what? You just spent 3 months learning your job in tech school. And then when you get to your military base, you learn a whole different aspect of your job depending on what base you're at. So everything you just learned doesn't go anywhere because you get taught a different way. And then even when you get in these jobs, like when I was doing IT, I had the certificates, but guess what? When I was working at Dell for my first job, they had everything on the computer. I'll be on the call and all I had to do was type, okay, is it blinking orange? All right, blinking orange, precision, da da da. Boom. all right, try this, try this, try this.
So
Well,
it's like you don't even need an IT, or you don't even need the certification, because on the job training is they're gonna tell you exactly how they want to do. And I also know from a lot of engineers, because I was a mechanical engineer major, they're like, when you get to the job, they're like, I literally use zero of the knowledge that I learned in to get my bachelor's degree on my job, because they literally tell you, oh, you learned all that, cool, that's cute. I want you to do it this way instead.
yeah, exactly. They want you to do it a certain type of way. And, same time as you doing it that certain type of way, and you get another job and it's a different type of way. And even a lot of these people that get bachelor's degrees and they're trying to get a entry level job, and the entry level job is asking for 2 years of experience. You're an entry level job. How can I have 2 years of experience if you're entry level?
Yeah. It's wild, man. It's wild out there. So actually, I wanted to go back. You mentioned how you joined the military because you wanted the respect from your father. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think that is such a crucial thing, especially for men. A lot of, if you're a woman listening to this, it may be a little bit harder to relate, but I tell this to people all the time, because right now I'm trying to become the man that I want my daughter to eventually like find. Right, so I need to set the example, and that is one of my life goals as well, as to become the best man I can possibly be, financially, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all that stuff. So I was realizing that men are driven by respect. This is why a lot of entrepreneurs are men, because they work so hard to gain respect from people, right? We want respect from our family. We want respect from our peers. We want respect from everybody. And one of the easiest ways, or one of the ways to get respect, is by having status. So, for example, being the boxer, by being a very extremely financially successful, by being the CEO of blah, 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 by doing hard things, right? By being the best sniper the CEOs has ever had, right? By doing things that not normal people have been able to achieve, right?
I feel like it's not just it's that's the ego side of us men. The ego side of us men want to be able to be the best of the best, and because the only way men feel accomplished is by their ego. I think,
By what they provide,
but
by what they provide. So this is
provide in the woman aspect, we want to know what we provide, and it's more substantiatory in this way. But for me, what I was doing for myself and starting this company, I didn't want the respect of anybody because I think
Yeah, correct. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's that's only an aspect. But if you were to ask any man, what is it that you want? I want to be left alone. I want to take care of my family. And like, they're doing it for the people that they love, and they want to make sure that the people that they love are financially taken care of, emotionally taken care of. Uh, there's a roof. There's everything. And if that happens, I can be in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, just fucking smoking a cigar and chilling the fuck out, right? As long as the people I love are taken care of, dude, it doesn't matter, right? I believe as a man, one of the things that fulfills their life is to be able to provide. They want to be the provider. They want to be the protector. They want to be the one. And that comes with respect from their family. They want a wife that looks up to them and be like, man, my husband is the fucking baddest man. He's physically strong. He's handsome. He is the best husband. He's the best father to our children, right? So again, respect, and they also want respect from their peers, their friends, right? And lastly, I think one of the most vital individuals that any man wants respect from is their father, because if they can gain the respect from their father, holy shit, that is extreme validation for them.
yep,
And that is true. Even as myself, I want the validation from my father. I want, because and it's hard to get, especially as an immigrant, Mexican, first generation Mexican American. I'm doing shit, and I'm doing the type of income that they cannot even comprehend. It's hard for them to even say congratulations, because they don't even understand what the fuck I'm doing.
yes, 100%, 100%. Like literally 100%. My grandpa was my second funding client, and he still doesn't understand really what I do.
I've helped my parents get a bunch of credit. They don't even use the credit cards. I was like, dude, use the credit card. My father called me like 2 days ago. I went to the doctor's. I'm here in the parking lot, and I'm here at the ticket booth to get out, but I can't pay it because I have cash and they want a card. I was like, did you take your credit card? He's like, no. I was like, dude. So he had to like back up, move away from traffic, park again, go to a little booth, ask for somebody to help him pay for the fucking ticket, and then he can get out. And it's like, dog, dude, I've been telling you, credit cards, stop using cash. They
But
just
you know what credit's power.
but they're just stubborn in their ways. You know,
Yep.
if this was like a financial advisor telling them exactly what to do, they would most likely do it, or the right. But because it's their kid, their son. Oh yeah, 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 for sure.
Yeah, okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, walk me through this real quick. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so man, that I think so again, respect I think is one of the most vital things. And I think that if you look at all entrepreneurs, is that thing is the chip in it's like they have a chip in their shoulder that affected them somehow. Maybe it was like not getting the gratification from or the respect from their parents or from the father, or maybe there was an absentee father, or there was something that causes them to like, fuck it, I'm gonna show the entire world that who the fuck the J Padilla is, right?
Yeah. I mean, me, I just want to help people. I feel like this is the biggest thing, Lamborghini mansion, private jet charters, and all this materialistic stuff is really cool. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to, when I pass away, I believe in God,
Yeah.
and I power soul. When I pass away, I want to be able to see how many generations I changed. I came from a place where I saw a lot of people's lives go a certain type of way because they didn't have the knowledge or education. And being able to do what I do now, and my clients, they come through the advertisements. I underwrite their credit file for free. And if they decide to sign the contract, they decide to. But if they don't, then they got a bunch of knowledge and information. So you give a man a fish, he eat for a day, and we all heard it. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll never starve again. But that's not where the quote is. See, if you teach a man to fish, that man or that woman, that man or that woman, if you teach them how to fish, will teach the people they know, and will teach the people they know, and teach them, and you feed the future generations. You change different generations. And that's like the biggest joy and outcome that I have out of this. Yes, I need the money and substances to be able to provide for myself and take care of myself, my family, my business. But the biggest joy is seeing my clients be able to take this and where they couldn't get approved for $20,000 and they were back ordered of $23,000 for inventory. And she's running six different cannabis stores in California being backward and can't even get a loan from Bank of America or any of the other banks. And increased her credit score by 40 points because of all the inquiries that she made. She was able to get $173,600 at 0% interest. And it was immediately able to use that for her inventory. And she's been able to do the travel hacks and use the points and rewards. And that right there, man, the biggest accomplishment, seeing other people's dreams come true and seeing like
Right.
how they change their lives, man. Like that for me, that pushed me to do this business. That's why I did this business. I wanted to be able to help my friends that were back in that line of their dreams and they wanted to be able to open the barbershop. They wanted to be open up the detail shop. But we didn't come from a rich family, so we couldn't really get the cash flow for it. You use that credit card for 1 year, you use it for 1 year, you got a 727. May not be able to get you 100,000, but still get you a little bit to start off, 20,000, 50,000. But it's all about process and being able to build up to it. And that's the best part about it, man. Opening up people's minds to understand something that's actually beneficial. Nobody knew what Amazon was. Now look at Amazon. Nobody knew what Uber was. Now look at Uber. Look at DoorDash. Look at Postmate. You know what I'm saying? All these companies that we didn't even know about and didn't know what they were going to do. Now look.
Right. Let me take the military aspect back, and I'm gonna make it a little bit political. I want to get your opinion. Should people still join the military now? Is that something that you promote?
I promote the military if it's something that, if you don't want to go to college, you don't have a plan, and you don't know exactly what you want to do in life, and it's taking you a while, and your family doesn't have the money to get you into school, you can't get FAFSA, then yes, 100%, I'm going to promote the military. Sometimes, man, it's like sometimes you wish it never happened at all, and then sometimes you wish you were back. I met so many great people being in the military. It expanded like my music. Like, man, I never even listened to country. And now I'm over here like, baby, lock them doors and turn them lights down low.
You guys on Josh Turner? Hell yeah.
Hey, man, like at the end of the day, I met so many great people. I'm still in contact with those people. And, it was an amazing experience. It did have their downfalls because, being in the military, you're always in the military. So even on leave, when you go to your family and stuff, you're like, for instance, I was at Herbert Field Air Force Base. That's the AFSOC Center. So it's Air Force Special Operation Command. I took 2 weeks of leave. I was in Texas, Florida, Texas. At the end of the day, I still have to abide by the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. So Article 2 applies to who? Everyone. And Article 5 applies to where? Everywhere. So at the end of the day, if I got in a fight in Texas and I got a DUI, or, I went to jail or something like that, my base is going to find out. And if my base finds out, that's my ass, you know, but I'll promote it because at the end of the day, man, it taught me discipline. It taught me core values. It taught me integrity. It taught me not to step on anybody's shoes because it's a small world you live in. But also, it taught me camaraderie, man. It taught me that, it really helped me, especially in this business world now. It helped me be able to blend into any type of group and be able to be open minded and understand that everyone, and especially in like how you say political, especially in like nowadays, everybody it's very like a lot about race. Certain people see race as, hey, I can't go to this country place. I don't like country music. I don't like country people. I don't like going to that subject of people. But end of the day, the military taught me that we're all brothers, we're all sisters. We all wear the same uniform, and we're all human. We're all people. And I learned so much from people that were rednecks. I'm talking about, I had a guy named Trenton Webster, and he was, oh, Bill, blah, oh, Shimmy, Hammond. Oh, I'm talking about, he would say good day. I said good day, sir. It showed me so much. And I tell people to go because at the end of the day, it can get your life on track. It can give you a sense of purpose. It can give you a family. It can give you best friends that you never thought you would ever have, that you would have the deepest memories with. And then when you get out the military, there's kind of a downside to it too,
Right.
because a lot of us veterans, we go to the VA, and the VA isn't really good with us vets. They take like for disability. When you get out the military, if you have like, back problems, you've been employed, or you can barely hear, and it's all on your medical records. You get out and you can go to the VA, which is the Veteran Affairs, and you can go and claim disabilities. You get PTSD, you have anxiety, you got sleep apnea. These are things you can claim, but it is a long process. And it's like they try forcefully to not give us that disability. And it's not, when you get disability, you get paid a certain amount. For example, let's say, these are not real numbers, but 50% disability, you're getting paid $975 tax free a month for the rest of your life. Why are you getting paid that? Is because your back, you have a messed up back, lumbar strain, nerve damage. So the military is paying you afterwards because of the service that you put into the country and because you got hurt while you were in service, right?
Right.
So here's the bad part. It's not 50-50 equals 100. It's like 50 plus 50 plus 25 plus 35 up to 300% can get you 100%. When I first got down here to Orlando, Florida, even before I went, I had a great friend, Senior Airman Gutierrez at Herbert Field. And when I was getting out, he was like, hey, man, everything that you have, go to the hospital. But when you're in the military, they tell you, don't go to the hospital. Don't go to the doctors. Your higher ups actually get upset when you do that because they give you days off. They're depending on like what hurts or what you're doing or what you had as a clinic. Well, you want to go because when you get out, that's what goes on your medical records, and that's what the VA gets. If you didn't report it in the military, you don't get it.
That's
So
what I was thinking. Yeah.
I got out, I came down here to Lake Nona, in Orlando, Florida. They have the Lake Nona VA. It's really nice and everything. But I got there, my grandpa took me. He was in the Army. He was an E7 drill sergeant, like I said earlier. And he took me there. He told me to print out all my medical records before I got out the military. I came down here. The military gave me a CD, and they said, "You take this to the VA." I get to the VA and I give them the CD, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't take the CD. You need to go and print out all these pages." 752 pages, man. 752 pages of my medical records. I had to go print out. So I
Nice.
do that, right? I'm sitting there in the lobby. There is an old white man with a beer belly sitting in his wheelchair, the US veteran cap on with a red shirt. And he said, "Hey, you're new here, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." I had like a nice shirt on. I had some jeans, nice shoes, very presentable haircut. And he was like, "You want a word of advice?" And I was like, yeah, what's happening? Because we were sitting in the claim center. So everybody's sitting there, you make claims. He said, keep fighting. And I asked him, I was like, well, what do you mean by keep fighting? He was like, you're going to submit claims for your disabilities you got in the military. And the VA is going to tell you no, 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 no. And they're going to do this on purpose so you stop trying. I fought for 5 years since 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. Finally, in 2022, I finally got 100%. My first year out, I was claiming my spine. I had dylosia, eroding spinal cord, and the VA said it's not service connected, even though it was in my medical records. In 2021, September, they finally gave me 10% after the 3 years of denying me for my back. I got with a company, and this is out for all the veterans out there that I don't get paid for this. This is not a sponsorship or anything, but there is a company called Remedical, REE medical.com. I don't get paid for none of it. This helps veterans be able to actually submit their claims and boost up their benefits with their disabilities based on actual evidence of what they have. I highly suggest you guys to go. It helped me get up to 100% after fighting for the 5 years. They do everything 100% legit. This is not under the rug because there's a lot of places that do that. But veterans, when we get out, man, it's hard. It's hard. We go
Right.
through, it's a transition assistance program, teaches us how to go back into the civilian world, how to do resumes, LinkedIn, all that. I'm telling you right now, I filled out 270 resumes and I would put military in there. Never would get an interview. The times when I did not put military, I would get an interview.
Really? Why is that?
It's because most of us have disabilities or it's for a quota. So most companies have to fill up a certain amount of quota for veterans to be able to be inside the business. And I feel like every single time, and I'm telling you, this is legit. Every single time I put veteran, I thought it would help me and never did. The times where I did not put United States veteran, those are the times I got the damn interview and it made no sense to me. So it's like, when we get out, everybody thinks, oh, you guys got it easy. You guys get paid. No, it's the hardest. You can go and submit, go to the doctor immediately. If I need to go to my primary care or need to speak to my therapist, I have to call, make an appointment, and maybe my therapist is free in 3 to 4 weeks. And it's the same set with medicine. When they give us medicine and everything, we're guinea pigs. Like that's serious. We're guinea pigs. Some personal information out there, PTSD, depression. And I went through my therapy and everything with the VA. They sent me to Lake Baldwin, which is over here in Orlando as well. And they gave me Bupropion, citalopram, sertraline, trazodone, four different medicines to be able to control depression asset and get in the bloodstream. And it all had different side effects. And the doctor literally told me that they're going to give you these medicines. If you feel side effects, let us know. We'll change the medicine. So it's like, I highly encourage the military in the best way to join because I do love the military. I love everything about it. I love the people I met. I love the discipline and integrity it instilled in me, the core values that taught me how to be a man, how, women can whoop your ass in fucking combat arms. I'm talking about there's some women out there that can fucking flip your ass like it ain't no fucking problem. Like they flipping a damn pancake. Uh, but at the same time, man, it did teach me a lot of respect for my country. It did teach me about, how you can form a brotherhood, how you can form a sisterhood when you don't have no family and how everybody looks after you. But on the aspect of when you get out, don't worry. Even though I just said about how the VA is, you keep fighting, you keep pushing, you keep going. And there's veterans out here that are going to help you. I work with a nonprofit, Veteran Connecting the Dots. We help veterans understand their benefits for free and understand exactly what they can get and exactly where they can go for therapy if the VA is booked and held up. At the end of the day, you are taken care of, but just understand that there is still a community of brotherhood out here when you get out. Like I could see a vet at the bar and I'll be like, yo, man, you was in the military? Yeah, I was in the military. What branch was you? Oh, I was Army. What branch was you, Jay? Ah, shit, I was Air Force. Oh, you need Chair Force. Hey, you know what the Army stand for, right? What's the Army stand for? The Air Force rejected me yesterday. Like, it's still brotherhood out here. So it's all family and I
It's
love
also
it.
camaraderie and then but yeah, I love it, man. That's yeah, I do find great value in the military, and this is why I ask, because I think if you lack discipline in your life, and you lack that path that you don't know what's there, then joining the military may be a viable option for you. But it's when I feel like, man, I don't like what the politicians are doing, or like if for example, if let's say you don't like Sleepy Joe Biden, right? Let's say you like, again, not to get political, but let's say you don't
Not to
agree
get
with his
political,
stuff.
but not to get political, I know. So I understand.
But like I wouldn't want to be in the military where someone that I didn't even choose to be can send me to go die for something that I don't believe in, right? And that's that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, first of all, huge respects to you. I have huge respect to people that put their body on the line. So military people, fighters, construction workers, all these people because they're putting their body on the line for the betterment of America. And so, first of all, again, huge respect to you.
I can tell
Uh,
you like this, man. I can tell you like this. We take the oath when we have to, uphold the commander in chief, no matter who it is. That's the commander in chief. At the end of the day, everybody has their own personal opinion when they're in the military, but it doesn't matter where they send us, wherever they're sending us to. We do humanitarian missions. When Hurricane Irene came, we were out there in Puerto Rico. We were out there helping people. We were out there in Haiti, making sure the airstrip was there so the planes could land and actually deliver supplies. So end of the day, whether it's going to war, whether who the president is, it doesn't matter for us because we know wherever we're going there for a reason. And even if the people kind of don't like us sometimes, because sometimes they don't, we're still helping. We're still out there. So yeah, it does suck sometimes, depending on who your president is. But at the end of the day, everything we're doing is for help. And like you said, it does develop hella discipline. It does help you form your path. And who knows, man, you might get a job as a mechanic on a C-130 and be flying everywhere and love that shit and get a civilian job working on the Boeings. So like, it can definitely change your life for the better.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. Great response. I'm glad that you deep dived on that. That's amazing. We got to wrap it up quickly. So let me rapid fire these questions at you.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Was there a moment in your life where something happened, or was there any moment in your life where you decided I need to change my life?
Yeah, yeah.
What was that moment?
That was the moment in my life when I was in a relationship and I had to realize with I had a fiance. I had to realize that at the end of the day, what I was doing wasn't on the right path. It wasn't the right person at the same time, and it was causing me to do a lot of stuff that I didn't normally do, like drinking, going out, partying, and not focusing on myself, not being with my family. And I had to really take a step back and realize, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're out here, having fun because you're in a whole new state and you're neglecting yourself, you're neglecting your health, you're neglecting your knowledge, you're neglecting a career, you're neglecting your family. You need to change. You need to change what's going on. And sometimes it's eliminating that person from your life. And that's just how it has to be, man. Sometimes people are meant to be in your life for a season for a reason.
I love it. I love it. It's definitely a hard choice. And I when I talk to entrepreneurs, they always have that moment. For me, it was when I was working at Domino's for 6 years, and I took a look at my left, and I looked at three delivery drivers that they were there delivering pizzas. They've all been in Domino's for the anywhere from 10 years to 30 years delivering that, and they were all in their 50s and 60s. And when I saw them, I don't know, I've seen them every single day for the last 6 years. It's just that I don't know why, but when I saw them that day, I said, "Holy shit, if I stay here any second longer, that's gonna be me." And that's the moment I decided I need to get the fuck out of here.
Need change. I need to get out of this motherfucker. I'm telling you, man, it's really big. It's really big because once I did that, nothing held me back. I became more of an entrepreneur. I became more of trying to invest in myself with the knowledge.
Right. I love it. I love it. If you were to describe yourself, what would it be?
If I was to describe myself, man, I would say I'm a person who always just wants to make sure everybody else around me is happy and smiling. I want to make sure that, people understand that it's not the end of the world. Sometimes you have one of those dark days. And when you have one of those dark days, it's okay. That's okay. And if you think that nobody understands, it's okay because they don't. But you do. Happiness, love, you know it better than anybody. And I feel like I'm one of those people, it says guru of credit. My name used to be Guru of J. I feel like I'm a motivational person who always wants to uplift others and make sure that they understand that you're not in this alone and you don't have to go. Try to stay here and be strong because you never know when your story is somebody else's survival guide. So I feel like I'm an uplifter, kind of a party animal in the life of the party, but and a way to, make sure everybody's having a good time and understand that, hey man, we're only here for a little while. Have a good time during this journey.
I love it. I absolutely love it. When I talk to all these entrepreneurs that I'm interviewing, I keep going back to this. All entrepreneurs are selfless. They're doing this for a bigger purpose than themselves. And like you just said it yourself, all you want is for the people that you love to be happy, to be taken care of. And that is literally what every single entrepreneur, what in their own way, shape, or form, they're always doing it. Again, when I ask them, like, hey, can you describe yourself? It's something in that sort of realm. It's like this is such a selfless action. Because again, being an entrepreneur is not easy. If you want an easy life, go get the certification that's going to take you a month, go get paid $120,000 a year, and then you're Gucci. That would be the easy life. So I love it. I love it. Next question. Do you consider yourself lucky?
Sometimes I did. Sometimes I did consider myself lucky to be where I'm at. Matter of fact, I do consider myself lucky. Consider myself lucky every single day that I wake up and I'm breathing and I'm able to help people. Consider myself lucky when stuff goes bad, and yet I somehow find a way. So yeah.
I love it. I think this is such a tough question for entrepreneurs because there's a lot of entrepreneurs have this ego attached to their success.
I made it complete myself.
And I think it's a gratitude sort of deal and a frame of mindset that I want to. So for example, if I want to work with somebody, I want to work with people who are only lucky. You have no idea how many like employees you can find that for every single week they're calling out because this is happening, because they're sick, because this traffic, because of blah blah blah. Like something is always something going wrong with their life. It's like, how the fuck is it that this person, that person, they've never called out once in the last 2, 3 years. And you, for some reason, finding a way to call out every other day, right? It's like you're like the unluckiest person I've ever met. I don't want to do business with you. If I find like an entrepreneur who's look always something wrong going on, I don't want to do business with you. I'm sorry. Apparently, you just have horrible luck. Like, So first of all, it's a place of mindset. Like they're always finding excuses of why things are happening in their life and they're not taking full accountability. So first of all, I want to work with people who are lucky, right? Not work with people who are not lucky. The other thing is like when people say they're not lucky and they are everything they've accomplished is because of them, I find it almost like a huge disrespect for everybody that came before them. Because if it wasn't for my parents that decided that to come to the United States, they don't even speak the language. They don't speak English. They only speak Spanish. They come over here. They work their ass off. It's a huge disrespect to them to say that I'm in the position where I'm at because of just my efforts alone. When it was generations and generations of people putting in work every single day for their entire lives to move the blood lineage forward, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, huge disrespect to them. And obviously, like to a certain extent, yes, you are very lucky that you were born and that you were born with, healthy hands, brain, like,
Yeah, my dad gave me to my grandparents because the main person I am, and I'm still lucky that
right?
my father, and now we're really tight.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things to be grateful. So again, it goes back to this mentality of being like this abundance mentality of being grateful for the things that you have in your life. But then also, I totally understand that. Hey, especially as an entrepreneur, how did you use that luck? How did you take those opportunities? Because a lot of people may see up, they may have the same opportunity as you, but they did nothing with it. And then those entrepreneurs, they had the same opportunities, but they actually put in the work, benefit the most out of those opportunities. So yes, so I understand like how success can be lucky to a certain extent, but at the same time, it takes so much hard work in order to be successful in what you want to be. So yeah, I'm glad that you consider yourself lucky. The next question is, who are your enemies?
Lazy and ambitious people. Those are my enemies. A lazy, ambitious person is the people that you have to watch out for.
Gotcha. Can you explain?
So a lazy, ambitious person is someone who's very ambitious, but they don't want to do anything for it, and they try to take advantage of other people who are going to be able to do it. Then the aspect of a certain way that those lazy, ambitious people basically they're waiting for a moment to come upon you. They're waiting for a moment for you to slip up, and they're going to take the laziest, easiest route while you're doing all the hard work to be able to catch up to you and go above you. Those are my enemies. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there in the world just like that. That they see that you're doing good, they see that you understand knowledge, and they, pull you in and then they slip the rug from underneath you. Because at the end of the day, they have the same mindset, the drive, like, yo, man, we're gonna get here, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, but they don't put in the work to be able to do that.
Right. Totally understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. I love it. And then the last question: what is your 5 year goals? Where is Justin Padilla going to be in the next 5 years?
This Padilla in the next 5 years is going to have about two, no, matter of fact, one multifamily commercial real estate property with more than 80 units in the state of Florida around Orlando City, which is going to be a Class B or Class C property. I want to get into multifamily commercial real estate. I learned from Grant Cardone at Cardone University, as well as I have a couple of mentors in the field already. So that's somewhere where I want to be. I do want to have the funding automation running to where I'm starting to teach people about funding. And I'm no longer doing the application or consulting, but I have the CEO or executive that can also do that on the side of the investment side.
Beautiful. Perfect. Awesome. Justin, you provide a lot of value to our listeners and you provide a
Justice,
lot of value. How
justice,
can listeners provide value back to you and plug yourself in?
justice, Eddie. It's justice.
Justice. Yes, that's right. Justin, my bad. My bad. Mr. Padilla. So
Oh,
I'm because here's the thing, I'm used to calling you Jay.
yeah, you can call it. Everybody
Okay.
calls.
All right. In that case, how can people, add value back to you, bro?
How can people add value back to me?
Yeah, plug yourself in. Like can people find you? What are you looking for right now?
Guys can find me on Instagram at Guru of Credit. You guys can also email me at J at the Investment Insight. If you guys are looking for yachts, exotic car rentals, private jet charters, and mansions in Miami and LA, you guys know where to find me on Instagram. If you're looking for digital passive assets such as Amazon or Walmart, or if you're just looking to understand LLCs and IMS LLCs, you guys know where to get to me at. The best way that you guys can provide the most value to me is by being open-minded and understanding that you can make the change in your life. You got three C's, and that's why three C's in my life, which is choice, chance, and change. You have the choice to make the chance. You have the choice to take the chance to make the change in your life. So this podcast right here probably gave you guys a lot of information. Now, what are you guys going to do about it? 35,000 choices in a day between the right way and the easy way, between the wrong way and the hard way, between the socks you put on and the clothes you wear. What choice today are you guys going to make after watching this video that's going to change your life? It's easy. Either hit up him or hit me up
There
and
you go.
start. Just start. Take the jump.
Exactly. I love it, man. Awesome. Thank you so much, bro. We'll catch you guys next time. See you.